This page is the vibrant August 1990 cover of Beep MegaDrive magazine, priced at 480 yen. The striking, cartoonish artwork features a whimsical character riding a shark, an octopus, and a smiling sun against a dotted sky. The main cover stories highlighted include a strategic look at the Mega Drive's prospects for the latter half of 1990, anticipating the wave of new releases coming in autumn. There's also a special feature diving into the history of aliens and UFOs within computer games. Prominently mentioned games are the shooter Hellfire, the racing simulation Super Monaco GP, the action platformer SWAT, Cyber Police, and Batman. There's also a note about Shitanu, likely referencing characters or a feature within a game. The issue celebrates the magazine's first anniversary, expressing thanks to readers, promising prizes for 222 individuals, and billing itself as a special volume UP issue packed with new release information. Bonus items include a strategy guide for the game Helios, and a special poster for Hellfire. This page is a striking promotional feature for the racing simulator Super Monaco GP, a title highlighted on the previous cover. It features a dramatic close-up of a Formula One driver in his helmet and cockpit, emphasizing the game's focus on the high-octane world of Fly One racing. The text boldly declares it the fastest racing machine on the ground, and captures the essence of Formula One, where glory and danger are intertwined. It boasts that the game fully recreates all the exciting aspects of Fly One driving, using the Mega Drive's 16-bit power, posing the question of who will ultimately take the checkered flag. A small gameplay screenshot is also visible, giving a glimpse of the on-track action. The page includes release details, stating the game's price is 6,000 yen, and it is scheduled for release on August 9th. This page explodes with excitement, spotlighting the intense wave of new 16-bit games hitting the Mega Drive. Building on the high-octane theme from the previous page, it features several upcoming titles, each previewed with a screenshot and a brief hook. Headlining the lineup is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, showcasing the king of pop in action. We also see Crackdown, challenging players with strategic bomb placement, and Gain Ground, a tactical game of rescuing allies from a digital threat. Further previews include Wonderboy 2-1, Monster Layers with its diverse stages and characters, the unique competitive golf action of Battle Golfer Yui, the fast-paced platforming of Strider, and the detailed wrestling simulation, Wrestle War. The page also promotes the Mega Drive console itself, highlighting its power as the engine for these thrilling new gaming experiences. This page is dominated by stunning artwork for the Wolf Team title FHEY Area, known as Fahrenheit 2022 in Japan. The central illustration features a massive, imposing mecha alongside the game's protagonist, Lieutenant Howard Bowie, and a mysterious blonde character, setting a dramatic, futuristic tone. To the left, a detailed column showcases various sprite animations or tactical icons for the game's mobile weapons, hinting at the strategic combat mechanics. The accompanying text introduces the game's setting in the 21st century, where mobile weapons called NAP have revolutionized warfare. It highlights Bowie's mission with Team Undead against the formidable Bloody Axis, emphasizing the harsh realities and urgency of battle in this blood-stained era. This page serves as a compelling preview, immersing players into the intense world of Wolf Team's mecha simulation. This page introduces FZ Senki Axis, another title from Wolf Team. Focusing on a quarter-view isometric perspective, the game plunges players into a dynamic battlefield. The key mechanic is the customization of your NAP mobile weapon. Attaching units increases firepower and durability, but reduces mobility, forcing strategic decisions on how to outfit your machine, with up to 14 units attachable. The game boasts 128 animation patterns for the NAP, creating smooth and impactful movements. The game world is presented across 7 areas, containing a total of 14 stages, offering varied environments and enhancing the action. The screenshots showcase the isometric view, depicting intense combat scenarios with the player's NAP unit and enemies across diverse locations. This title appears to build upon the NAP concept featured on the previous page, delving further into the mecha combat strategy within the Wolf Team universe. This page introduces Ringside Angel, heralded as the first authentic pro wrestling game for the Mega Drive, featuring Japanese women's professional wrestling, or Joshi Puro Resu. The game is endorsed by the famous wrestler Cutie Suzuki, whose photo is prominently displayed alongside the title logo. The description highlights a real command-based system, dynamic special moves, and speedy gameplay. Detailed graphics are promised, showcasing big-sized wrestlers with varied costumes and expressions that change throughout the match. Screenshots show the character selection screen, a matchup display, and the in-ring action. The game is listed as production in progress, with a price of 6,800 yen. excluding tax. There is also information about a promotional event at the ASMIC Summer Festival 90 on August 24th, featuring a demonstration of the game with live JWP wrestlers on a large screen. This page showcases Hellfire, the Mega Drive port of the popular horizontal scrolling arcade shooter from Toaplan. The dramatic key art depicts the player's ship, the Silverfield Hellfire, against a large alien vessel and the backdrop of space. The article highlights that this Mega Drive version is a faithful adaptation of the arcade hit, promising beautiful graphics and BGM, thanks to its large 4 mega room capacity. It also mentions Mega Drive exclusive options and powerful weapons. This is presented as a single-player experience. 3 small screenshots are included, giving a glimpse of the intense side-scrolling action across different environments. The game is scheduled for release on September 28th for 6,800 yen. The text hints at the game's premise: a lone pilot fighting to break through an alien encirclement threatening 6 planets in the year 1990. This page features striking, dynamic artwork depicting a battle between formidable mechanical insects. In the foreground, a detailed cyborg hornet-like creature is shown, while in the background, a larger mechanical beetle wields dual swords. Vertical text on the left translates to the dramatic tagline, Cyborg Insect Army Invasion, accompanied by the reading or name, Beruzaga. While no screenshots are present, the detailed illustration and title strongly suggest a game centered around intense combat against a formidable force of cybernetic insects, promising a thrilling science fiction action experience. This page features the hyper-real shooting game Insector X for the Mega Drive, published by HOTB. Dramatic artwork portrays mechanical insects, setting the stage for a conflict between humans, the Beruzars, and the Insectors. The text describes the return of this ancient struggle, focusing on the fight against the modified insect army and Emperor Beruzar. The game boasts realistic mech insect designs, an original soundtrack, power-ups, and the ability to switch between air and ground combat. It consists of 5 rounds, each with multiple scenes, all presented with detailed backgrounds seen from an insect's perspective. 3 screenshots offer a look at the horizontal shooting gameplay, including level visuals and a unique clock interface. The game's release is announced as approaching. This page introduces the Mega Drive port of Fat Man, known internationally as Tongue of the Fat Man, or Mondu's Fight Palace. Previously a popular and award-winning action game on IBM PC in America, it's finally making its debut in Japan. The page features striking artwork dominated by the monstrous Fat Man character seated on a throne, flanked by intriguing female figures and shadowy minions, hinting at the game's dark and unusual premise centered around fighting in a strange arena. 4 screenshots showcase the side-scrolling action gameplay, depicting the player character battling various grotesque enemies, including a large green creature, a skeleton, and a crocodile. The game is scheduled for a September release with a tentative price of 7,800 yen, supports 2 players, and utilizes a 5 MB IT-ROM. Published by Sanritsu, this title promises the brutal action that earned it acclaim overseas. This page presents a powerful preview of Shitten Mayu, an intense action game for the Sega Mega Drive. The striking artwork features a dynamic group of heroes, highlighted by individual portraits of the 4 playable characters: Kotaro, Ayame, Kidenbu, and Senshiro. Each is described with their unique power-up abilities, like Kotaro's Fire Dragon or Ayame's Hurricane, emphasizing varied gameplay. The game is positioned as a high-impact action experience, capable of shaking heaven, earth, time, and space, as these heroes become the Shitten Mayu to defend Earth from the demonic forces of Asura. Screenshots illustrate the side-scrolling action gameplay, showcasing diverse environments and enemy types. The text further describes it as a 3D action game with distinct stages and the potential for 2-player co-op, promising exhilarating maximum output action. A small section at the bottom also previews the Game Boy software painter Momopi, planned for a November release. This page is the table of contents for the August 1990 issue of Beep Mega Drive, offering a roadmap to the magazine's features. It includes images of the iconic Sega building and a dynamic screenshot from the Game Strider. The contents are divided into key sections: a new Game Scramble section starting on page 17, promising a catch-up on the latest software with quick looks at titles like Shadow Dancer, Strider, Super Monaco GP, and Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, alongside numerous others including the surprisingly early mention of Sonic the Hedgehog and Wonder Boy 2-1, Monster Lair. Following this is the Be Mega Hot menu on page 28, delivering more previews of new releases such as FZ Senki Axis and Insector X. The bulk of the magazine focuses on in-depth, thorough master strategy guides for recent hits, including Hellfire on page 96, the challenging Sheetan Mew, featured on the previous page, on page 102, SWAT, City Under Siege on page 106, and Batman on page 112. Finally, page 57 contains a special enclosed appendix, a Mega Master Guide for the action game Phelios. This page acts as another look at the contents for this issue. At the top, there are screenshots from various games, including what appears to be an RPG map, a boss battle scene, and a screenshot from a game resembling Streets of Rage showing characters fighting amidst burning buildings. The core of the page highlights the major features. First up is a UFO special feature starting on page 89, which delves into the history of alien invasion games on computers and the Mega Drive. Following this on page 43 is a look ahead at the second half of 1990 for the Mega Drive, discussing upcoming game lineups and the anticipation from third-party developers. A significant new feature on page 122 introduces the Beep/Game Gear, covering its launch with columns and a survey of third-party support. Below these prominent features, the page lists various regular columns and articles, touching on topics like news, development insights, ongoing game features, and reader contributions. This page features a report on the 90 Tokyo Toy Show ANSYS 90, events crucial for showcasing the upcoming entertainment lineup. The article focuses heavily on Sega's presence, highlighting the excitement surrounding their booth, which was packed with new titles. The report covers the Tokyo Toy Show held in June, noting the increasing focus on computer games and amusement-related items, despite it being primarily a toy exhibition. Sega presented a rush of new games for the Mega Drive, including titles like Altered Beast, Burning Force, and previews of upcoming releases for the latter half of 1990. The article also touches upon other games shown, including Caesar's War from Micronet and Super Airwolf and Super Volleyball from other publishers. While games like Strider and Ghouls and Ghosts hadn't been heavily featured by Sega before, the buzz was about the future lineup. The report also mentions the introduction of the Game Gear at these shows, with specific reference to being able to play columns on the new handheld, indicating a strong push for Sega's new hardware alongside the Mega Drive. This page continues the report from the Tokyo Toy Show, shifting focus to other notable booths. Technosoft's booth was highlighted, primarily showcasing the highly anticipated horizontal shooter Thunder Force 2i, complete with an impressive dragon display matching the game's theme. The article notes, visitors were also drawn to Technosoft Gal. Following Technosoft, the Taito booth is covered, memorable for its unique dinosaur theme. Key Mega Drive titles on display included Space Invaders 90 and Rainbow Islands Extra version. Outside of the Mega Drive, Taito also featured the Famicom version of Jungle Hunt. The page also briefly touches upon the portable PC Engine GT, noting its presence at the show along with games from companies like Konami and Bandai. A section titled Overflowing New Title Scramble teases the addition of a new title to the Unipack series for the Mega Drive, hinting at more details to come and showing what appear to be screenshots from this new release, likely the shooter XDR. Finally, the page includes a large table detailing the Mega Drive software lineup, scheduled for release from July onwards, listing titles, developers, cartridge sizes, and genres. This page reports on the SEGA 90 show held in Chicago. It highlights Sega's strong presence, particularly their provocative slogan, Genesis Does What Nintendo Don't. Notable Genesis games mentioned or shown include Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Technocop, Phantasy Star II, SWAT, Thunder Force 2i, and Burning Force. The Master System 2, an updated version still popular in the US, was also featured. While Nintendo's booth displayed Mario character goods, NEC drew attention with their portable PC engine, known internationally as the Turbo Express. The report concludes with confirmation of the Super Nintendo's Japanese launch date, August 21st, and price, 25,000 yen, listing Super Mario World, Zero, and Pilot Wings as the initial titles. This page is a new release scramble, previewing upcoming software. It highlights a variety of titles across different genres, from action games like Shadow Dancer, Strider, and Wonder Boy 2-1 Monster Lair, to fighting games like Wrestle War and Kageki, plus simulation and strategy titles. The list also includes Dynamite Duke, Super License, Monster Lair, Battle Golfer Yui, Cutie Suzuki, No Ringside Angel, Road Prosecutor, ASEAN, Fatman, Junction, Atomic Robot Kid, Vazarum, Star Cruiser, Momono Hunter Yovko, Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo, and a tentative Aeroblasters. Notably, it even lists Sonic the Hedgehog, which seems very early for this publication's typical timeline. The main focus is on Super Daisenryaku 2, tentative, a simulation game set in 1939, aiming to depict the history of Europe during World War II with ultra-realism. The article suggests it's a significant upgrade from the previous game, promising improved gameplay responsiveness and graphics. The reviewer notes that while the screenshots show improved visuals and animation compared to the static images of the past, incorporating advanced features like simultaneous attacks by multiple units might pose memory challenges. Despite some uncertainty about final features, the ambition for a deep historical simulation is clear. The page includes screenshots of the game's hex-based map and historical photographs, emphasizing the game's setting. This page continues the New Release Scramble feature, previewing several upcoming titles. First up is Shadow Dancer, the successor to the Super Shinobi. This action game is a port of the arcade title, but with significant changes for the Mega Drive. It features a 3-button control scheme for jumping, attacking, and commanding your canine companion. The setting is noted to be a futuristic, post-apocalyptic Shinjuku in 199X after a nuclear war, a departure from the arcade version, with intense action sequences highlighted in the screenshots. Next is Wrestle War, a wrestling game ported from Sega's arcade. The focus is on realistic pro wrestling action, with the player character positioned front and center. The game emphasizes real-time matches without a separate move selection screen, promising speedy bouts. The goal is to win the champion belt, facing off against unique wrestlers from around the world. Screenshots show the in-ring gameplay. Finally, Sonic the Hedgehog is previewed as a new Sega original action game aiming to create a popular character. While details are still scarce, the screenshots reveal graphics with vibrant colors and a pop aesthetic that is noticeably different from Sega's previous style, suggesting a cheerful and speedy atmosphere. The preview ponders if this new character could potentially replace Alex Kidd as Sega's mascot, targeting a release for next spring. This page continues the New Release Scramble feature, previewing more upcoming Mega Drive titles. First up is Dynamite Duke, a port of the hit arcade games. This is a 3D action game where you primarily fight enemies with powerful punches. The screenshots show the main character engaging various foes in different environments, including a fight against a large mechanical boss. Next is Super License, Temp, described as a simulation-type racing game, specifically an F1 simulation. Rather than directly racing, you take on the role of a racing team manager, making careful decisions about settings and tactics to lead your team to victory. The screenshots display management menus and a top-down view of a racetrack. Finally, we have Wonder Boy 2 on Monster Lair, the third game in the Wonder Boy series, coming to the Mega Drive as an upgraded version. This is an action game where you control the character book, battling enemies and bosses. The game features both standard platforming sections and side-scrolling shooting segments where you ride a dragon. Screenshots highlight these different gameplay styles. This page continues the New Release Scramble, highlighting more upcoming titles for the Mega Drive. Featured first is Strider, a port of the arcade hit. The review notes the impressive quality of the action, faithfully recreating the dynamic moves and challenging enemies from the original. Screenshots show Strider Hiryu battling various foes, including a large segmented boss, emphasizing the fast-paced combat. Next up is Battle Golfer Yui, a unique sports game that blends golf with adventure and RPG elements. The description highlights this unusual combination, where you progress through an adventure mode with RPG-like features before playing golf. Screenshots display character profiles, menu screens, and the golf gameplay view, illustrating the different aspects of this hybrid title. Finally, Cutie Suzuki's Ringside Angel is previewed. This is a sports game focusing on Japanese women's professional wrestling, featuring speedy matches and the ability for 2 players to compete for the title. The article notes the beautiful presentation and dynamic action, mentioning the featured wrestler Cutie Suzuki. Screenshots show character selections and in-ring combat, providing a glimpse into the wrestling mechanics. This page continues the New Release Scramble, featuring the action game Kageki. Described as a port of the arcade original, it brings the comical violence, unique characters, and synthesized voices to the Mega Drive. The review notes it's a well-done adaptation, retaining the feel of the arcade experience. The story follows the hero as he infiltrates the enemy gang's headquarters to rescue his kidnapped brother. Screenshots showcase the action across different floors of the enemy base, each featuring a different boss character, such as the durable first-floor captain, the mohawk-headed boss in the training room, or the tricky fighter on the third floor. The page also includes character portraits with dialogue, adding to the game's unique flavor. This page features a preview of the upcoming Sega Mega Drive title, Roadbusters, from Telenet. This action game puts you in the driver's seat of a massive truck in a lawless wasteland, tasked with delivering precious cargo while fighting off raiders. You play as a transporter driving a large truck, designed to ram into enemies who are attacking you with launchers and bombs. Your truck can connect with up to 3 containers, which have high durability for ramming. Enemies come in various forms, including bikes, buggies, jeeps, modified cars, and even large boss trailers. The gameplay promises more than just simple driving, with elements like jumping and plenty of offensive and defensive items. The story is set in a post-apocalyptic world where civilization has collapsed and bandits roamed. The protagonist is a brave individual who earns trust by successfully delivering essential goods, becoming known as a roadbuster. The page includes several screenshots. A sequence of images shows progress through Stage 1, depicting driving through ruins and into a city. Other screenshots provide glimpses of planned stages, showcasing varied environments like deserts, Stage 3, coastal areas, Stage 4, industrial zones, Stage 6, and aerial enemy encounters, Stage 2. The preview notes that the screenshots are from a work-in-progress version, suggesting the final graphics might differ. Overall, it looks to be a challenging and varied car action experience. The next page features previews for 2 upcoming titles. First is As a Nation, a horizontal scrolling shooter from Telenet, their second game for the Mega Drive following Roadbusters. The article highlights its unique woes system, where you can learn enemy attack patterns, branching map paths that lead to different bosses, plenty of power-ups, and suggests Telenet is aiming for high-quality shooters on the platform. Screenshots show various space environments, enemy ships, and a humanoid boss. Below that is Fat Man, described as an action fighting game, likely a port of the popular IBM PC title, Tongue of the Fat Man. The preview notes its impressively detailed character animations and distinctive, somewhat grotesque atmosphere. Gameplay involves one-on-one fights against 9 different opponents, ending with the final boss, Mondu. Screenshots display diverse characters, including the large central figure, a skeleton, and even a fight against a crocodile, promising varied and challenging battles. This page features a preview of the action puzzle game Junction. The review highlights that the game is not overly difficult, making it accessible even for those who aren't typically fans of puzzle games. It boasts 50 stages with stage select available and detailed graphics. There's also mention of a config mode for closer inspection and hints at simulation games being developed by Micronet. A section titled Transplanted Version is Like This delves into the Mega Drive port, noting it's based on Konami's arcade game Cube Brick, but with several changes. The clear condition is now passing all checkpoints, which disappear after use. Falling off the course leads to failure. A red ball is mentioned, which seems central to gameplay, perhaps affecting the course. The article points out that unlike a previous introduction, the course blocks do not disappear in this version, a significant difference from Cube Brick. Multiple screenshots show the game's isometric puzzle grid layout, with different course configurations and backgrounds. A side panel displays various background graphics seen during gameplay. This page features previews for 2 upcoming Mega Drive titles in the new release scramble. The first is Atomic Robot Kid, a comical shooting game starring a cute robot protagonist. Delayed but now expected in October, the game tasks you with navigating maze-like stages filled with enemies, hidden rooms, and big bosses on a post-nuclear Earth where humanity is near extinction. The review notes a significant graphical improvement compared to earlier versions, especially the detailed backgrounds on the Mega Drive. Also previewed is Vasam, an action RPG scheduled for a November release. This title blends traditional RPG elements like map exploration with side-view action combat sequences. The preview highlights the inclusion of story events and powerful weapons, expressing excitement for this RPG offering on the Mega Drive. Screenshots show both the overhead map view and the action gameplay perspective. This page continues the new release scramble with a look at Star Cruiser, a highly regarded 3D shooting and adventure game previously popular on PC, now being ported to the Mega Drive by Messiah, NCS. Originally released by Arsa Software 2 years prior, this version utilizes polygon graphics for realistic space battles and interior scenes. While visually impressive, the game is also praised for its strong story, particularly the adventure segments. The Mega Drive port isn't just a direct transfer, it's described as significantly powered up, adding introductory content missing from the PC original for a smoother experience. Screenshots showcase the mix of gameplay styles, from first-person cockpit views during space combat to character interactions in the adventure mode within buildings. The title has garnered a good reputation and is highlighted as a must-watch title for SF fans. This page continues the new release scramble, showcasing upcoming Mega Drive titles. First up is Devil Hunter Yoko, the Seventh Bell, a side-scrolling action game from Messiah. Based on the popular series, it features 16-year-old Yoko protecting her school from demons in a full-directional scrolling environment. The game boasts 5 stages with a pseudo 3D scrolling effect, and screenshots show intense action against large creatures and platforming over water. Next is Gyowambura Jiko Chushinpa Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo by Game Arts, a popular mahjong title making its way to the Mega Drive. This version is a powered-up port of earlier PC and Famicom releases, adding new original elements like characters based on fan requests and a unique class versus class event mode. Screenshots display the game's mahjong interface and character portraits rendered in a manga style. Finally, Kaneko presents Aero Blasters, Air Buster, a version-up port of the side-scrolling shooter. Known for its fast scrolling speed and extensive power-up system, this arcade classic is coming to the Mega Drive, promising intense action with support for 2-player simultaneous play. Screenshots highlight the explosive aerial combat. This page continues the look at upcoming releases under the BeepMD Hot Menu banner. Featured alongside major titles like Super Monaco GP, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Nastar, and in Sector X is a detailed preview of Wolf Team's FZ Senki Axis. This action game is highlighted for its groundbreaking system, particularly the quarter-view perspective. Unlike standard side or top-down views, this angled 3D perspective aims to provide a greater sense of depth and realism during shooting and action sequences. The article also emphasizes the extensive machine customization available. Players can coordinate their NAP unit by equipping from 20 different types of weapons and defensive parts. A notable feature is the unit damage system, where equipped parts are individually destroyed when hit, impacting the unit's performance until eventually the main body is lost. Screenshots showcase the game's mech design and the interface for customizing its loadout. It looks like a promising action title, offering strategic depth through its unique camera and customization options. This page continues the look at FZ Axis, shifting focus from its systems to a preview of the diverse stages you'll fight through. It offers a glimpse into the varied terrain, starting with a city-street battlefield in Stage 1, where you'll face mobile troops and beware of air attacks. Stage 2 takes you to a desert and ruins, emphasizing careful navigation and how losing maneuverability can be a real hindrance. Stage 3 is set in a scenic but deadly valley, highlighting intense enemy pursuits and powerful tank attacks. Stage 4 descends into a dark underground passage where limited visibility changes the strategy, making dodging crucial. Finally, Stage 5 introduces the entrance to the Axis Core, teasing a breakthrough into the enemy's heart, with more details promised for the next issue. The screenshots effectively showcase the different environments and how the game's unique perspective adapts to each setting, reinforcing the strategic depth introduced on the previous page. This page features Fire Shark, known in Japan as Same, a hardcore vertical scrolling shooter from Toplan, hot off its arcade release and quickly ported to the Sega Mega Drive. Described as the successor to Flying Shark, the article emphasizes its challenging gameplay. The page showcases various screenshots detailing different stages, including aerial and naval combat, formidable boss encounters like a heavily armored tank and naval ships, and highlights the effectiveness of bomb power-ups. A dedicated section explains the strategic importance of utilizing the game's weapon system, noting there are 3 distinct weapon types, each with 4 power-up levels, crucial for tackling the swarms of enemies attacking from all directions. The preview expresses excitement about the fast-paced action and the faithful arcade port, urging players to hone their skills. This page continues the coverage of Fire Shark, known in Japan as Same, delving into its weapon system. It details the 3 distinct weapon types: the wide, blue, which starts as a 3-way shot and expands with power-ups for broad coverage; the beam, green, a powerful weaving shot that increases in number and width, effective against bosses. And the fire, red, a strong, multi-stream attack that also moves laterally. The article emphasizes that collecting the same color item powers up the current weapon across 4 levels, while collecting a different color switches weapons. Maxing out power-ups is highlighted as essential for success. Other items, such as the speed-up, are mentioned, along with how bonus points are awarded for collecting items when powered up or upon clearing a stage. The page indicates that the coverage is ongoing, with more details to follow. This page dives deep into the Sega Mega Drive port of the arcade hit, Super Monaco GP. The reviewer kicks things off by calling it a must-buy, praising Sega's technical skill for successfully transplanting the gorgeous Fry 1 atmosphere from the arcade to the home console. They highlight how the game captures the essence of From 1 racing, particularly the famous Monaco circuit, even without the elaborate arcade cabinet hardware. The article details the game modes, including a challenging 16-race World Championship mode that features RPG elements, where your team and car improve or degrade based on your performance. It also mentions an original mode and discusses the various transmission options available, including automatic, 4-speed, and 7-speed manual, noting that different engine powers are associated with these. The control setup is customizable, allowing players to map actions like shifting, acceleration, and braking to preferred buttons. Gameplay progression involves first tackling qualification laps to determine your starting position for the main race, which is typically 3 laps. The article notes the inclusion of a challenging wet conditions race for top finishers, emphasizing the reduced grip and the need for careful driving. Screenshots showcase the title screen, options menus, and transmission selection, giving a glimpse into the game's depth and presentation. Overall, the page conveys strong enthusiasm for Super Monaco GP as a faithful and engaging Fly 1 simulation on the Mega Drive. This page continues the deep dive into Sega's Super Monaco GP on the Mega Drive, expanding on its modes and crucial gameplay elements. It details the structure of the Super Monaco GP mode, showing the flow from preliminary practice laps to the main race and the subsequent driver's points calculation. This point system is highlighted as vital. Colliding with obstacles or running off the track significantly lowers your score, and achieving a certain threshold is necessary to earn a super license, enabling further progress. The championship mode is also explored, showcasing screens for selecting rivals and managing your team, hinting at the strategic depth mentioned previously. One particularly interesting aspect covered is the game's sound design. The reviewer notes the absence of background music during races, which might seem unusual, but praises the focus on realistic engine sounds and environmental audio, like the echo in tunnels. They emphasize how the detailed sound effects, including the distinct engine notes of rivals and the satisfying sound of downshifting, greatly enhance the sense of immersion and realism, strongly recommending using headphones for the full effect. The page concludes by promising more details on the World Championship mode in the future. This page dives into Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the Genesis. Released by Sega, this action game brings Michael's signature sound and moves directly to the screen. It features several of Michael's hit songs, including Smooth Criminal, Thriller, and Beat It, with voice samples used throughout, which the review notes should please fans. The core objective is simple: rescue hidden children within each round. While the goal is straightforward, the game features engaging combat. Beyond standard attacks, Michael can unleash stylish special moves like the spin attack, hat attack, and the signature dance attack, which cleverly uses his music to defeat enemies. The screenshots vividly demonstrate these different techniques, showing Michael mid-kick, punching, jumping, throwing his hat, spinning, and engaging in a dance sequence to take down foes. The page suggests the game captures the atmosphere of a music video, encouraging players to enjoy it from that perspective. The review promises further details, hinting at a deeper dive into later rounds. This page continues the look at Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the Genesis, focusing on round 3 set in a foggy forest with zombies. The reviewer notes that with zombies featuring prominently, the BGM is fittingly Thriller. They describe the stage and enemies, mentioning the zombies aren't overly difficult individually, but can be tricky in groups. Below this, the page reveals a significant technical achievement for the Genesis. Sega has secretly developed a software routine capable of performing sprite and background rotation, scaling, and reduction. The article features screenshots demonstrating these effects on a character sprite and a background pattern. It highlights that this is possible on the Genesis using the 68,000 CPU and contrasts it with other systems, noting the Genesis's advantage of having two background planes, which aids this software implementation. The reviewer expresses excitement, stating that once this routine is finalized, it will enable developers to create games with much deeper visual effects and possibilities. This page features Taito's Rastan Saga II for the Sega Mega Drive, set for an August release. Presented as a faithful port of the arcade game, it's a side-scrolling action title where players must cut down demons. The game boasts a unique system where each of its 5 rounds is composed of 3 distinct areas: shooting timing areas where you advance past enemies and traps, and battle areas culminating in a boss fight. The story centers on obtaining the Sage's stones from demons who have stolen them from the sacred skyscraper. Gameplay involves standard action controls: the directional pad for movement, A for attack or hold for defense, and B for jumping, hold longer for higher jumps. Players have a life bar within a stock system, losing a stock when life runs out. Screenshots showcase the game's visuals and basic attacks, including standard strikes, crouching attacks, overhead attacks, and jumping down attacks. The review highlights the complete arcade port and the interesting multi-area round structure as key points for this release. This page provides a detailed guide to the early rounds of Rastan Saga II, focusing on gameplay tips for each area. It breaks down rounds 1, 2, and 3 into their distinct shooting, timing, and battle areas. For round 1, the guide explains the path to the skyscraper, noting the relatively low difficulty of enemies and bosses here. It details the shooting area where you advance past foes, and the timing area requiring precise downthrust jumps to break blocks. The battle area section provides specific strategies for defeating the boss, warning against attacking more than twice consecutively due to a counterattack, and suggesting a defensive pattern. Round 2 sees the difficulty increase, with stronger regular enemies and hazardous timing areas featuring poison gas and lift traps. However, the Round 2 boss is described as weaker than the first, vulnerable to jump attacks on its head, and the guide offers tips on avoiding its flying pattern. Round 3 shifts the environment entirely to a cave setting, significantly increasing the challenge of the timing areas, with difficult platforming and enemies attacking from various angles, including from above. Screenshots throughout the page illustrate the environments, enemies, and boss fights for each section. This page introduces In Sector X, a unique shooting game from Hot B for the Sega Mega Drive, released in September. It highlights the game as the first Mega Drive title from Hot B, and notes that the Mega Drive version is a dramatically different arrangement of the arcade original, featuring realistic characters not seen in previous shooting games. The article promises a complete strategy guide over 2 issues. The review describes the game as a transformed port, changing the comical insect-themed arcade shooter into a biomechanical shooting game for the Mega Drive, a change deemed successful due to effective use of the Mega Drive's graphical capabilities. The story centers on the invasion by the alien Belzers and Insectors, led by Emperor Belzeroid, and the human protagonist Kaito, who aids the last surviving Insector to fight back. The page also details the game's power-up system. The normal shot has 7 levels of power-up, shown through screenshots. Additionally, there are 8 types of special weapons, acquired by picking up specific items. These special weapons are split into 4 types for airborne use and 4 for ground use, and each is depicted with a screenshot illustrating its effect. The article covers the first round map and points for rounds 2 and 3. The next page continues the strategy guide for In Sector X, Transformer. This page focuses entirely on round 1, detailing the level progression and the first boss. Round 1 is split into 2 distinct parts: the Desert to Oasis section and the Desert to Inside Pyramid section. The guide explains that the first part is relatively easy and focuses on taking down specific enemies to get power-up items. The difficulty ramps up in the second part inside the pyramid, making power-ups essential. Defeating certain semi-bosses provides option weapons. The page also provides a detailed breakdown of the first main boss, Blade Dispeter. It describes its attacks, which include 3-way missiles from the mouth and fire from the abdomen. The strategy advises paying close attention to the missile trajectories and highlights the bottom of the screen as a safe zone during the fire attack. It notes that the boss is quite tough and requires continuous attack to defeat. Screenshots illustrate the different stages of the level and the boss fight. This In Sector X strategy guide covers rounds 2 and 3. Round 2, set in the plateau, features ground-emerging enemies like Makami Makami, vulnerable at its center, and the Dragonfly, attacking from behind. The mid-boss is a stag beetle, defeated with option weapons. Round 3 shifts to the city area, splitting into 2 challenging underground waterway paths. The environment includes large clocks and insect-like enemies. The mid-boss comprises 3 longhorn beetles launching guided missiles, and Dengoro-type water beetles appear later. A new mystery item is introduced. The guide introduces the Lance Hopper boss, a grasshopper-like enemy, and recommends a safe spot in the lower left of the screen. While the attacks are simple, the boss is tough. The guide concludes by noting Insector X's high difficulty, potentially among the toughest Mega Drive shooters, but praises its controls, character movement, individuality, and even its CD-released music. This page delves into a speculative look at the anticipated Mega Drive Creedrom unit, which hadn't appeared yet when this was written. The author, AGI Nijuhyaku, proposes their own conceptual design for the unit, emphasizing an integrated look with the Mega Drive console. The design presented resembles a Daruma Otoshi tumbling doll stack, where the CD unit sits on top of the Mega Drive. Key features shown in the illustration include a hand-opened lid, a disc check window, a Clidrom drive, a remote control and receiver, and even detachable stereo speakers, and a remote module. The text discusses the design philosophy, suggesting the unit should look like a natural extension of the Mega Drive. It touches upon potential functions like software being integrated into the unit, and mentions possible optional units for expanding capabilities, such as a processor, or DVI, digital video interactive technology for video playback. The idea of using an FM transmitter for wireless audio to existing amps or speakers is also floated. Finally, the article speculates on the price, suggesting it could be around 30,000 yen, comparing it to Sony's Data Discman price at the time. The author hopes Sega can achieve this price point, perhaps with optional units sold separately, making the CD player concept appealing. This is a creative exploration of what a Mega Drive CD could be before the official release. This page is a mail-order advertisement from the store Happu, featuring their second national sale of consoles and games including Famicom, Disk System, PC Engine, Game Boy, Creedrom titles, and Mega Drive games with prices and ordering details. This page features a special report analyzing the Sega Mega Drive's position and predicting its success in the latter half of 1990. Following a slight dip, hits like Thunder Force 2i and Column significantly boosted shipments, propelling the console past the 1 million unit mark. The article attributes this success to the Mega Drive's superior performance compared to systems like the Master System and Sega's expertise in action and shooting genres, as well as the growing support from third parties like Namco and Taito, broadening the user base. Upcoming titles mentioned include SWAT, Cyberball, and Super Monaco GP. Concerns are raised about the lineup being heavily weighted towards action games, but the overall outlook suggests the Mega Drive is poised for continued growth, with a potential target of 2 million units. The page includes a fun cartoon illustration depicting the Mega Drive's journey, signed by Kenjin. This page features a large cartoon illustration of a dinosaur-like creature with sunglasses and a helmet, sitting on a pile of items, holding a joystick, symbolizing the gaming experience. The article continues the discussion on the Sega Mega Drive's future prospects. It highlights Namco's push, particularly in the American market with the Genesis, mentioning key titles like Burning Force, and the expectation of more big games. The importance of securing strong third-party support from companies like Wolf Team, Game Arts, Technosoft, Denpa Shimbuncha, and TOS is stressed for competing against the Famicom and PC Engine, with hopes of reaching 2 million units sold early. Analysis of reader preferences, compared to actual releases, is shown in pie charts. Readers strongly desire RPGs, 31%, while actual releases in the latter half of 1990 were dominated by action, 31%, and shooting, 31%, titles, indicating a gap between demand and supply. A bar chart illustrates the positive trend of increasing monthly software releases from late 1988 through 1990. A reader survey reveals that a large majority, 73%, feel the Mega Drive needs to improve. While some praise its graphics and sound, others want more genre diversity, including transplanted hits from other platforms, better promotion, and the release of nationally popular software titles, similar to Dragon Quest or SimCity on other systems. The consensus points to high expectations for Sega and its third-party partners to expand the library beyond its current strengths. This page features a fascinating look into the strategies of various game developers for the Sega Mega Drive, In the latter half of 1990, it presents a survey where several companies weigh in on the market environment, their upcoming titles, and the overall direction of the platform. Asmik highlights the wrestling game Cutie Suzuki's Ringside Angel, shown with a screenshot featuring the titular wrestler. They acknowledge the market will be tough, but are preparing several appealing titles. Wolf Team features their top-down shooter Granada, also with a screenshot, and expresses a desire to diversify their genre output. Kaneko mentions the horizontal shooter Aeroblasters and notes their current focus on porting games. They specifically comment on the upcoming Super Famicom release and question if Mega Drive hardware sales can grow, suggesting a price drop and a need for more genre variety beyond shooters and action games. Hugo Trade showcases Super Airwolf, tentative, based on the popular TV series, with a screenshot. They praise Strider Hiryu's effort on the platform and advise Sega to work on improving the Mega Drive itself, comparing its features favorably against the Famicom, but suggesting room for improvement. Overall, the companies anticipate a challenging market, especially with new competition on the horizon, and emphasize the need for a more diverse and high-quality software lineup to ensure the Mega Drive's continued success. Small, charming illustrations of a giraffe and a lion add a touch of whimsy to the survey results. This page continues the developer survey, featuring insights from GameArts, Sunsoft, Sanritsu, Sigma Enterprises, and Sega. GameArts is pushing a mahjong game based on a popular manga, while Sunsoft highlights their baseball simulation telephone stadium, noting the upcoming modem support. Sanritsu focuses on a single action title called Fat Man. Sigma Enterprises mentions a game titled Shitten Mayu, and discusses the balance between ports and original titles needed to boost hardware sales. Sega, the platform holder, confidently states their entire lineup is strong, specifically mentioning Super Monaco GP and the excellent Strider Hiryu port, alongside other large-scale titles. Most developers acknowledge the competitive market, particularly the looming presence of the Super Famicom, and emphasize the need for high-quality and diverse software to ensure the Mega Drive's success in the latter half of 1990. This page continues the developer survey from the previous page, showcasing more companies and their plans for the latter half of 1990. Taito is highlighting Darius 2, emphasizing its faithful arcade port quality that can be enjoyed at home. They note the improving quality of Mega Drive software overall. Technosoft teases a new work, a vertical scrolling action shooter planned for the second half of the year. They express a focus on quality over quantity and are dedicating their development efforts, anticipating market changes with the arrival of the Super Famicom. Denpa Shinbunsha is all Menelin on Afterburner 2, focusing solely on delivering a satisfying experience with this title. They also mention their next project will be Power Drift. Toaplan features Kyukyoku Tiger, known internationally as Twin Cobra, touting its faithful recreation of the arcade experience. They express confidence in their software, despite the competitive landscape, and find the Mega Drive easy to develop for. Finally, Tohoho mentions Heavy Unit, noting that the quality of games on the platform is expected to increase with the Super Famicom's entry. They believe games should leverage the unique characteristics of each machine and express regret about Heavy Unit's delay. This page continues the developer survey, presenting insights from Treco, Namco, Nihon Telenet, Videosystem, and Hot B regarding the Mega Drive's future lineup. Treco highlights their upcoming RPG, Valsham, alongside the arcade hit Atomic RoboKid, observing that the Mega Drive library in the latter half of the year is rich with action and shooting games. They view the Super Famicom as a significant pioneer in the 16-bit era. Namco focuses on porting their popular arcade titles, Klax and Burning Force. They express a desire for more Mega Drive games with original concepts that appeal to a broader audience, emphasizing the need for software that can become a foundational part of the system. Nihon Telenet showcases their new force-scrolling shooter, Azion, planned for December, following Road Blasters in November. They feel the Mega Drive lineup is strong, but anticipate the Super Famicom will have a considerable impact. Their goal is to develop games users truly want and explore new genres. Videosystem features Super Volleyball 91 Tentative, a Mega Drive port aiming to capture the arcade feel of its PC Engine counterpart. They note challenges in maintaining a consistent flow of software, but have high hopes for future arcade ports, advising caution regarding potentially high difficulty levels. Finally, Hot B brings the popular arcade fighting game Kageki to the Mega Drive. They see the overall market for the system as robust and are committed to releasing more engaging software, including both ports and original titles. This page concludes the developer survey, presenting a positive outlook on the Mega Drive's expanding software library and growing third-party support, which is invigorating the computer game industry. The main text discusses the challenge of creating hit titles despite the increase in releases, emphasizing the necessity of high-quality software. The shop-side perspective highlights the recent success of puzzle games and notes the increasing demand for Mega Drive titles. Retailers view the current lineup as strong, particularly in the action and shooting genres, citing popular arcade ports like Thunder Force 2i and upcoming titles such as Columns and Super Monaco GP as examples of the quality available. Developer spotlights feature Micronet and Messiah, NCS. Micronet's key title is The Tentative Shazar's War, a simulation game offering a contrast to the dominant shooting genre, along with the mentioned Junction. The section is accompanied by artwork of ancient figures. Messiah spotlights Yoko the Demon Hunter, featuring artwork of the character and a creature, noting the character is 16 years old and expressing hope for strong user support. Both developers offer final comments focused on supporting the Mega Drive and its user base. This page features the final chapter of an SF fantasy novel titled Continuing the Dream, written by Raichi Hara. The story appears to explore themes of life, energy, genetics, and existence, with mentions of characters like Mama, Papa, and Satoru. The narrative refers to a white shell, or white Kara, and discusses concepts like life energy and the relationship between life forms and the Earth. Accompanying the text is a distinct illustration depicting a fetus-like figure enclosed within a womb or egg-like structure, visually reinforcing the story's focus on beginnings and fundamental life processes. This is a piece of serialized fiction included in the magazine, distinct from the usual gaming content. This page features the third installment of a game writer's diary titled Looking from Behind the TV Monitor, Game Writer's Dizzy Diary. This entry focuses on the challenging task of introducing and reviewing kusoge, or bad games. The writer discusses the difficulty of objectively evaluating games and mentions a potential scoring system likened to a dog race, suggesting a 1 to 10 point scale where giving very low scores like 1 or 2 is particularly tough. The standard review score tends to hover around 7 points. Accompanying illustrations depict stylized animal characters in a line, possibly representing this dog race concept. The article delves into the personal struggles and considerations a game writer faces when tasked with reviewing lackluster titles, highlighting the subjective nature of game assessment and the unenviable position of having to critique poor quality work. This page delves into the state of the TV game market in the first half of the year, presented by Jam Ojisan, a salaryman game critic. It highlights the significant growth of third-party support for the Mega Drive, with 10 new companies announcing games, and notes the continued strong performance of the American market, suggesting the PC Engine is also doing well. The market is gearing up for the impending release of the Super Famicom, SNES. A key trend discussed is the move towards games becoming light, thin, short, and small, meaning many titles can be completed quickly. This is changing player habits, with some finishing games like Dragon Quest IV, Final Fantasy II-I, Japan, and Megami Tensei 2 within a couple of weeks, or even after Burner 2 and Genpei Tomaden in just a week. This rapid completion is a significant factor influencing the market. The page also features a list of the top 20 hit games from the first half of the year across various platforms, including Famicom, Game Boy, Mega Drive, and PC Engine, showcasing the popular titles of the period. Additionally, there's a mention of the strong sales performance of the Game Boy and the Mega Drive's overall contribution to the market's expansion. The overall sentiment reflects a dynamic market adapting to new hardware and evolving player expectations regarding game length and replayability. This page provides an in-depth look at the Japanese TV game market in the first half of 1990. According to Data 3, based on estimated active units, the Famicom held a significant 45% market share, followed by the Game Boy and PC Engine at 21% and 17% respectively, with the Mega Drive also at 17%. The analysis touches on factors like the increase in monthly game releases and the trend towards games being quicker to complete. It notes the Mega Drive's continued growth, especially buoyed by strong performance in the U.S. market, while the domestic market is also doing well with increasing third-party support. Data 2 presents the top 10 most popular Mega Drive games according to reader votes, featuring titles like Afterburner 2, Phantasy Star II, Sorcerian, and SWAT, City Under Siege. The Famicom, despite its large install base and chart presence, is seen as relying heavily on sequels and popular series, perhaps showing signs of wear. Meanwhile, the PC Engine is seeing growth, particularly with its Creedrom squared base expanding. The upcoming release of new handhelds like the Game Gear and Turbo Express in the autumn is anticipated to further shake up the market, suggesting the latter half of the year will be highly competitive. This page features the Sound Club column by Yasuhiko, focusing on game music. The main article poses the question, can girls become the savior of the second Konyaro in the 21st century? It discusses the changing role of game music, suggesting it has become a tool for communication, even aiding in dating scenarios where conversation might otherwise falter. The article explores the idea that girls are increasingly interested in game music, citing anecdotal evidence of the growing percentage of female listeners among game music fans. Below this is a section reviewing new music releases. First is a review of the Hyperdrive album by ST, featuring music from the Sega game. The review praises ST's arrangements and notes the high quality, mentioning it includes both original versions and arrangements. Next is a review covering music from simulation games, specifically Daizen Ryaku and Tenka Tuitsu. The reviewer highlights that these soundtracks feature full band arrangements and are well produced, evoking strong visual images related to the games. Finally, there's a review for the music from Neketsu High School Dodgeball Club, Soccer Edition, known internationally as Nintendo World Cup. The review describes the music as rock-based, typical of the Kunio-kun series, and notes the female vocals, finding them charming but regretting not seeing the singer. This page continues the exploration of game music and its evolving role, particularly in social contexts. The commentary suggests that game music is becoming a significant element, even influencing dating scenarios, acting as a point of connection where conversation might otherwise be difficult. The article posits that girls are increasingly involved in the gaming and game music scene, viewing them as holding the key to future developments in this area. The discussion touches on various aspects like sports, music, Valentine's Day, and how games like UFO Catcher or RPGs might play a role in social interaction and attraction. Below this cultural commentary are introductions to new audio products. One section highlights the Yamaha DD6, a digital percussion pad designed for casual use. Another introduces 3 Roland graphic equalizer models, E131, E231, E215, useful tools for shaping sound. Finally, the Yamaha PSR2 portable keyboard is featured, demonstrating its ease of use with features like automatic ad-lib and harmony effects controlled by a single button. This page features a special supplement dedicated to the upcoming Sega Genesis Shoot 'em Up Philios. Prominently displayed is the title Philios Pre-Release Mega Master, alongside artwork depicting the game's protagonist riding a Pegasus, a mysterious female figure, and a monstrous creature, all set against a deep red background. The article dives deep into the game, promising to reveal maps for the first 6 chapters and provide essential data on enemy characters, their movement patterns, and crucial strategies for success. It also briefly touches upon other upcoming autumn releases like Clax and Burning Force. The page appears to be a comprehensive preview designed to prepare players for the challenge ahead, even mentioning a Philios dialogue contest. This page features an exciting announcement, likely related to the Philios dialogue contest mentioned in the previous issue. Manga panels prominently display the game's protagonists, Apollo and Artemis, showcasing humorous or intriguing dialogue bubbles. The main text discusses the success of the Philios promotion and thanks the readers for their participation in the contest. A significant portion of the page is dedicated to a detailed table outlining various magazine subscription options, including O/X, O/FM, O per percent, and BeepMD, detailing their subscription durations and prices in yen. This serves as a practical guide for readers looking to subscribe to these publications. This page continues the coverage of Philios, providing a guide for Chapter 1, titled Hill of Delos, Temple of Medusa. The page features a striking illustration of the boss, Medusa, alongside screenshots depicting the level and the boss encounter. The focus is heavily on the first boss, Medusa. The guide details her attack patterns, specifically her petrifying gaze, which can be reflected off walls, and advises players to move defensively when she shifts position. There's also a trivia section providing mythological background on Medusa, tying into the game's narrative about facing this Gorgon sister. Furthermore, the page introduces several regular enemies encountered in the early stages, including skeletons, sylphs, bardmen, radons, iorns, and armas. Basic stats like points and vitality are listed, along with brief descriptions of their behavior or appearance. A small section highlights an image of Artemis reflected in a mirror, hinting at the method needed to defeat Medusa, referencing the classic Greek myth. Map segments provide visual cues for the stage layout. This is a solid early game guide, giving players the essentials to tackle the first boss and enemies. This page presents a detailed guide for a level in the game Populous 2, Trials of the Olympian Gods. The core of the page is a map composed of various interconnected segments illustrating the stage's layout, featuring terrain like forests, rivers, and paths. The guide directs players from a starting point through different areas, including a location referred to as the crossroads. It highlights the necessity of engaging and defeating enemies encountered along the route. A crucial point on the map is the village of Utopia, where players are advised to equip themselves before venturing into a cave located north of the village, which is said to house a boss. The page also mentions Tetrad as a significant character or entity for this section, stating that the player will face them first when a specific event triggers. While the guide primarily focuses on the top-down strategy gameplay of Populous 2, a supplementary screenshot associated with Tetrad shows a creature from a different visual perspective, perhaps indicating a specific event or unit type within the game, or potentially a brief mention of another title. This page serves as a valuable early-stage walkthrough for players navigating a specific conquest scenario in Populous 2. This page dives into Chapter 2 of the game Phelios, taking players through the underground cave to the Temple of the Grey. The guide focuses on the boss of this area, the Grey, providing some statistics and a trivia section explaining their role in the game's mythology. Screenshots depict the side-scrolling action gameplay set within dark, rocky environments, and there are smaller map-like images showing the layout of areas within the temple. Information on common enemies like zombies and magicians is included. An intriguing section, titled, "What Did Apollo Come All the Way Here For?" features character portraits and dramatic text, hinting at a significant story event or challenge faced by the protagonist, possibly involving fire and a character named DuPont. The next page continues the guide for Phelios, focusing on Chapter 3, the Underground Labyrinth. This section provides a detailed map of the twisted subterranean paths players must navigate, marking key areas and potential enemy locations for the top-down shooting segments. Uniquely, the page also showcases a side-scrolling section, hinting at a shift in perspective for certain areas or boss battles, like crossing bridges over chasms. A significant portion is dedicated to enemy profiles, offering vital statistics like points awarded and vitality for common foes such as gargoyles and birdmen, as well as more unique creatures like the segmented Mukamushi and the formidable Rockletania. Screenshots highlight critical moments in boss encounters, including strategic elements like the appearance of a powerful sword during the Mukamushi fight, and identifying the weak point on the Rockletania, equipping players with the knowledge needed to overcome these challenges. This guide is essential for mastering the dangers of Phelios' third chapter. This page continues the guide for Phelios, delving deeper into Chapter 3, focusing on the enemies and formidable bosses within the Air Temple area. It highlights key encounters, including the player character Apollon, often guided by Pegasus, facing threats like Griffons. The main focus is on the chapter's primary boss, Siren. The guide features detailed artwork of this mythical creature, and breaks down her different forms or modes, Feather, Siren N, Siren A, providing vital statistics and points awarded for each. It describes Siren's attacks, notably her ability to unleash a barrage of feathers and breathe fire, emphasizing the need for players to dodge these attacks effectively. Beyond Siren, the page also provides tactical breakdowns for other significant enemies or mini-bosses encountered in the chapter, including Hyura, Griffon, Mikufon, and the Dragon Fighter. These sections likely offer hints on their attack patterns and weaknesses. An interesting trivia section links the game's depiction of Siren to classical Greek mythology, referencing Homer's Odyssey and describing sirens as alluring women with bird-like features who inhabit the sea. A neat touch connecting the fantasy world to real-world myth. Screenshots illustrate various gameplay moments, showcasing the environments and enemy designs, including a call-out for where the guide continues. Understanding these enemies and bosses is crucial for navigating this challenging stage. This page continues the guide for Phelios, breaking down a section of Chapter 3, likely within the Air Temple area. It presents a visual walkthrough using horizontal strips of gameplay screenshots, marked from A to D, showing the level layout and enemy placements. The guide highlights specific dangers players will encounter. It warns of enemies that attack from behind by throwing spears. A key tactical note is given regarding the Dragon Fighter, identifying it as surprisingly tough and advising players that charged shots are essential to defeat it. There's also a brief mention of something appearing near the griffin that can hit the player. This section is a practical aid for navigating this challenging part of the game. This page continues the Phelios guide, moving into Chapter 4, titled, The World of Flame and the Temple of Antaios. The fearsome boss of this stage, Antaios, is prominently featured, with screenshots showing his fiery attacks and vulnerable head. The guide explains that Antaios alternates between approaching from the left and right, urging players to dodge his attacks and use options to cover a wide area, especially vertically, suggesting strategic shots are key to victory. There's also a trivia box connecting Antaios to Hercules' 12 labors. The page details several enemies encountered in this burning realm, including the chimera-like Chimera, the orbiting Combs, floating eye creatures called Firebeam, fiery skulls known as Fireheads, flaming birds called Firebirds, and the resilient silver skeletons. Each enemy is shown with a brief description of their movement or attack patterns, providing essential information for navigating the challenging stage. Gameplay screenshots at the bottom show the level's appearance, indicating a path forward. This page continues the Phelios guide, showing more intense vertical shooting action in Chapter 4. Below the Phelios gameplay, the page also features screenshots from what appears to be the classic Namco arcade game, Tower of Druaga. This section showcases the top-down dungeon exploration and combat from Tower of Druaga, highlighting specific enemies like the Silver Skeleton, describing how they react when attacked. The text connects these older enemies to the world of Phelios, noting that approaching Apollo, the Phelios protagonist, can transform enemies into Fireheads, another foe found in both games. It seems the guide is drawing parallels, or showing the lineage of enemies between Namco's earlier work and Phelios. This page continues the Phelios guide, moving into Chapter 5, titled, The World of Ice, the Shrine of Scylla. It details the challenges within this frozen realm, highlighting the prevalence of Dragonian-type enemies and the importance of dodging rather than just attacking. The guide provides a strategy for the Chapter 5 boss, Scylla. It advises dealing with the numerous wisps that appear first, using full power, then focusing on Scylla herself, while avoiding her interior attacks and staying away from the walls. A table lists stats for Scylla, wisps, and ice enemies. Below the boss strategy, the page provides details and sprites for regular enemies encountered, including Dragonians, Skade Dragonians, Mega, and Giga, describing their attack patterns like firing rocks or flying down. Map sections labeled A and B are shown, illustrating the level layout and enemy placements. Finally, a small section delves into the mythological background of Scylla, mentioning her appearance in Homer's Odyssey and her monstrous form with multiple heads and dog heads. This section offers a bit of cultural context to the boss character. In short, this page offers a detailed guide for Chapter 5 of Phelios, covering enemy types, level layouts, and the strategy for defeating the boss, Scylla. This page continues the strategy guide for Phelios, providing detailed walkthroughs for further levels. The page features segmented maps showing the level layout, with yellow arrows indicating suggested player movement paths, and enemy placements marked with M for Mega and G for Giga enemies. Complementing the maps are screenshots illustrating specific tactical advice. One screenshot shows dealing with a skull-like obstacle that contains an enemy core, advising players to defeat it quickly and escape. Another screenshot highlights the Mega enemy's explosion, warning that it scatters projectiles and players should pay attention to their direction. A third screenshot shows that upon defeat, the Mega enemy drops 2 circular items, likely power-ups or collectibles. This page continues the strategy guide for Phelios, moving into Chapter 6, titled, World of Water, God of Cerberus. The guide highlights the beautiful graphics of this chapter, especially the water effects, and notes the difficulty level remains high, setting expectations for future Namco titles. The main focus is on defeating the Chapter 6 boss, Cerberus. The text describes Cerberus moving in a set pattern, emphasizing that the central head cannot be hit from below, so players should stay in safe zones. The strategy involves hitting its 3 heads, which causes its eyes to change, making them vulnerable. Players are advised to attack the eyes when they change to defeat the boss. The table provides stats for Cerberus, including points, PNT, and options with varying point values. The page also covers regular enemies found in the chapter. The red bat appears from the left and right, urging players not to underestimate it. The water tarantula suddenly jumps out of the water, and its attack requires careful evasion. The earth demon throws rocks, which can be tricky to avoid, especially when multiple appear. The guide warns that dealing with these enemies while also avoiding the rock obstacles is challenging. Screenshots show the environments and enemy encounters, including a larger screenshot detailing the path through part of the water level, and smaller images showcasing the enemies and their stats. This page continues the Phelios strategy guide, moving on to the final stage, Chapter 7, and the ultimate confrontation with the boss, DuPont. After defeating Cerberus in Chapter 6, you face the fearsome DuPont. The guide explains that throughout the level, you must destroy obstacles to reveal hidden items shaped like letters. Collecting these letters to spell Phelios is crucial, as it grants you the powerful Sword of Light, the only weapon capable of harming DuPont. The text stresses the immense difficulty of the final boss, noting that DuPont's attack power is a staggering 256 compared to the standard 16, making the fight incredibly challenging. Visuals on the page include a striking full-body illustration of DuPont, several gameplay screenshots showing the boss encounter and environment, and long strips detailing the level layout leading up to the boss fight. The guide emphasizes that Artemis, the player character, will need all their skill to overcome this final hurdle. This page introduces the Mega Drive port of Klax, originally an Atari Games arcade title. It highlights that this version is a powered-up port and features two two-player modes, making it deep and engaging. The core gameplay involves catching falling colored tiles with a paddle, which can hold up to 5 tiles, and strategically placing them on the grid ahead to form lines of 3 or more tiles of the same color, known as Klaxes. These Klaxes can be formed vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, and different formations award different points. The page details various scoring combinations and explains that clear conditions for each wave are presented before starting, varying the objectives beyond simple scoring. Gameplay screenshots illustrate the different clerics types and clear condition examples. The article expresses excitement for the game's speed and addictive nature, comparing it favorably to games like Tetris, and emphasizes the anticipation for the Mega Drive's exclusive two-player modes. This page dives into Burning Force, a 3D shooting game released in 1989, framed as a side story to the classic Scramble. You play as Hiromi Tengenji, a student at Earth University aiming to become a space fighter, battling robot armies across various environments. The gameplay is unique, switching between 2 distinct modes: the air bike, where you ride along the ground, and the aeroplane, for free-roaming aerial combat. The game's structure is presented as a graduation exam from Earth University, taking place over 4 days, each day featuring different stages and challenges. Screenshots showcase the diverse levels, from coastal areas and deserts to space and grasslands, and even interior base sections and boss encounters. Hiromi has access to several power-ups and shot types beyond the basic normal shot, including homing missiles, a wide-coverage wide-range shot, a penetrating laser shot, a powerful cross-laser shot, and the ground-targeting max missile. The article highlights the game's visual flair, mentioning effects like rotation and scaling, and expresses anticipation for the final product based on the preview build. It details the first 4 days of the exam, giving a glimpse into the stages and bosses you'll face on your journey to becoming a space fighter. This page is Volume 4 of Ikeda Kizoku's King of Mania column, titled Otoko Gumi. In this installment, Ikeda Kizoku delves into the classic manga series Otoko Gumi, sharing his personal thoughts and analysis, particularly focusing on the character Jinguji Shinryu. The page includes several manga panels depicting key characters from the series, including Shinryu. Ikeda discusses Shinryu's background, evolution throughout the story, and his impact on the reviewer's perspective, highlighting the character's complexity and unique appeal. Beyond the manga review, Ikeda also provides updates on his own activities, mentioning his band Remote's CD release on July 25th, and an upcoming concert at Ikebukuro Sunshine Theater on the same day, along with plans to attend other live music events. This page features the 5th entry in the Japan RPG travelogue series, titled Phantom Ninja Temple Wanderings Part 1, written by Takeo Iijima and illustrated by name Kodu Honpo. The page is presented in a manga style, depicting the author and companions, including development staff and a ninja temple enthusiast, on their journey. They are traveling by taxi from Matsuyama, the previous location in the series, heading towards Kanazawa. The narrative centers on their quest to visit the famed ninja temple, Myoryuji, in Kanazawa, which the author notes is popularly known as such, but may not be a true historical ninja training ground. The illustration shows their taxi ride, with a map charting the route to Kanazawa. The text captures the group's conversation in the taxi, discussing their expectations and the mystery surrounding the temple, framing the trip as an adventurous RPG quest. The page sets the stage for their exploration of Kanazawa and the temple itself. This page features a humorous manga about a cafe calling out a customer's name, alongside a bizarre reader queue, and a column, and a call for submissions for eccentric topics. This page features a collection of short, quirky articles and reader submissions, maintaining the magazine's unique tone. The layout is a mix of titled sections and smaller reader contributions arranged in columns. Featured are personal anecdotes, including one titled, "Don't Forget," about a trip outside, and a peculiar news-style report asking, "5 housewives swarming white snake," which details a strange incident under police investigation in Kyoto. There's also a section highlighting current numbers, people, and words of interest to the editors. A recurring feature appears with In-Magazine Correspondence Game 5-volume, inviting reader participation in a puzzle or challenge. The page is heavily populated with reader submissions, covering a wide range of topics from observations about hair moisture and sea monkeys compared to marriage, to short, sometimes surreal musings titled simply Ka, Yo, and Wa, and dramatic tales like After Matsu City, I Was Stabbed, and I Applied Without Permission. This section truly showcases the diverse and often eccentric thoughts of the magazine's readership. This page is dedicated to the Hot 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 Club, focusing this month on action movies where tough characters risk their lives. It celebrates the appeal of straightforward, cool heroes. Featured are 3 films popular at the time. First up is RoboCop, with a poster and details about the cyborg police officer in futuristic Detroit. The article touches on his origin and fight against crime and corporate corruption. Next is Die Hard, showcasing the classic poster. This section highlights Bruce Willis as John McClane facing down terrorists in a skyscraper during a Christmas party. It mentions the film's intense action and suspense. Finally, the page covers Zombie Cop. While not as globally renowned as the others, it's presented as a police action film involving zombies. The summary mentions officers investigating strange occurrences linked to the undead. The article frames these movies as exciting dramas starring hot men who embody courage and coolness under pressure. This page continues the discussion from the previous page, focusing on action movies featuring resilient heroes. Titled, Say Anything About Videos, it presents a dialogue between 2 individuals, Eiga Rin Katsudo and Tetsuko Sumitomo, sharing their takes on RoboCop, Die Hard, and Zombie Cop. They comment on elements like RoboCop's design and effects, the brutal action and clever writing in Die Hard, and the premise of Zombie Cop. The conversation is informal and reflects their personal impressions, touching on favorite scenes and characters. The page is illustrated with images, including a shot of the RoboCop suit, a scene from Die Hard featuring Bruce Willis and Al Leong, and the 2 police protagonists from Zombie Cop. It's a casual chat, offering opinions on these classic action films. This page delves into the film Far North, Sam Shepard's directorial debut, notable for Jessica Lange's Academy Award-nominated performance. The story follows Kate returning to her chaotic family home, dealing with a violent horse and eccentric relatives. The cast includes Jessica Lange, Charles Durning, and others. Sam Shepard handled both the direction and screenplay, with Gaga distributing the film. The page highlights Shepard's diverse background as an actor, playwright, and director, mentioning his connection to The Right Stuff. A commentary section titled, Where Are the Men?, analyzes the film's atmosphere and the strong presence of its female characters, contrasting them with the less prominent or absent male figures. The accompanying images feature scenes and characters from the film, illustrating the family dynamics discussed. This page presents a mix of media news beyond just games. It covers an upcoming horror film festival called Phantazone 1990, featuring screenings of films like Basket Case 2 and Frankenhooker, complete with guest appearances and special events. Moving into video releases, there's a segment on Ultraman Graffiti, likely a video series, promoting a quiz contest with telephone cards as prizes, and showcasing the animated style of this Ultraman iteration. Finally, and more relevant to core gaming, the page highlights the release of a strategy video for Tecmo's Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos on the Famicom/NES. This video is touted as essential for fans, offering original story content and expert gameplay demonstrations to help players master the challenging action platformer. The page features visuals from the film festival, the Ultraman anime, and the Ninja Gaiden 2 game and strategy video packaging. This page features People's Land, specifically a section titled Games, Say Anything You Want, which serves as a platform for readers to share their opinions on various games. The comments cover titles like Whiplash, where readers discuss its unique power throw move and difficulty. The Mega Drive version of Columns is highly praised, noted as better than Tetris by one reader, with others enjoying the satisfying chain reactions and the fun of two-player versus mode. Phantasy Star II. Generations of Doom garners significant attention, though primarily negative, with multiple readers expressing strong criticism. They point out issues with the game's scenario being too linear, frustrating level progression, questionable battle system tactics, poor character and background design, and an overall lack of narrative direction, suggesting the game was controversial and disappointing for some compared to previous entries. The page also includes reader-submitted fan art in the bottom section, depicting a monstrous creature and a group of anime-style characters. This page continues the reader feedback section, showcasing opinions on various games and hopes for future releases. Readers weigh in on titles like Phantasy Star II, discussing aspects they liked and disliked, including scenario, characters, and disappointing lack of features like 3D dungeons or more dynamic battle animations compared to previous entries. There's also commentary on racing games, such as Super Monaco GP and Super Hang-In, with a specific focus on the importance of realistic sound effects, particularly exhaust sounds, to enhance the sense of presence. Other feedback includes a wish list of desired features for the upcoming Super Street Fighter 2, such as multiple backgrounds, improved computer AI speed, 4-player modes, and training options. Readers also express a strong desire for more arcade ports and diverse sports games on the Mega Drive, specifically mentioning titles akin to Namco's baseball series, and wondering about games like volleyball or ice hockey, while noting the aging roster of Sega's mascot characters. The page is punctuated with fan art, including a drawing depicting characters from Koei's Romance of the Three Kingdoms series, with a plea for a port, a fantasy character portrait, and a drawing styled after Gradius, suggesting a desire for a Mega Drive port of that classic shooter series. This page continues the reader feedback section, showcasing more opinions and questions from Mega Drive fans. One reader humorously confesses to being terrible at games, only managing to clear the first stage of Thunder Force 2 with help. There's commentary on the magazine itself, including feedback on specific sections like game guides and the reader-submitted content, corner or section. A curious story about Master Takahashi, a famous gaming figure, shooting someone, is recounted, seemingly a strange rumor. Another reader asks about the status of something called Return of the Fairy King, which seems to have vanished from the magazine's coverage. A peculiar anecdote involves seeing something in the sky resembling text, which turned out to be related to Phantasy Star II. The page also features fan art, including a drawing for Forgotten Worlds, a detailed piece for Golden Axe, and a cool drawing of a mech labeled Cross Dog. Overall, the feedback covers a mix of personal gaming experiences, magazine content critique, strange rumors, and hopes for future content. Brief summary. Reader feedback on gaming skill, magazine content, curious rumors about Master Takahashi, and fan art for games like Golden Axe. This page begins with corrections to the previous month's issue, addressing specific page numbers and topics like game creators and recruitment. Following this is a section listing the winners of the June Reader Present campaign. Prizes included Mega Drive games like Whiplash, DJ Boy, Telephone Mahjong, and Psycho Blade, as well as items related to other popular series like Dragon Quest and Legend of Valkyrie, alongside various stickers and telecards. The page is visually dominated by fan art, submitted by readers. There's a strong piece depicting the iconic heroes of Golden Axe ready for action, a dynamic drawing featuring a character clearly inspired by Phantasy Star II, with its distinct logo, and artwork for the classic action RPG Sorcerian. Another piece features Valkyrie from Namco's Legend of Valkyrie. An intriguing darker drawing titled Diax 40XX also features, showcasing a demonic figure. Finally, the bottom section details how readers can submit their contributions for the upcoming September issue. Categories include sharing thoughts and impressions on playing Mega Drive software, discussing general gaming or life topics, and submitting illustrations drawn by hand. The instructions provide the mailing address and necessary personal information required for submissions. This page features BeepMD Dataland, which focuses on providing essential data for gamers, including the latest information on Mega Drive game releases and events. The core content is the Shop Data Top 10 Sales Ranking for Mega Drive software, compiled from various cooperating stores in major Japanese cities based on sales from May 1st to May 31st. The ranking highlights Afterburner 2 back at number 1, followed by the highly popular Golden Axe at second place. Phantasy Star 2 dropped from the top spot to third this month. Newly released titles like DJ Boy and Whiplash made a strong debut in the top 5. Other games in the top 10 include Rambo 2i, Ozaki Naomichi's Supermasters, New Zealand Story, Sorcerian, and Darwin 4081. Screenshots on the left showcase some of these top games, featuring action from Afterburner 2, Golden Axe, Phantasy Star 2, and DJ Boy, along with the vertically scrolling shooter Whiplash, and an image from Phantasy Star 2i. The commentary notes, Phantasy Star 2's drop in rank and reflects on the state of new releases like Whiplash, questioning if it sets the standard for shooting games. This page presents dual popularity rankings for the Mega Drive, featuring both shop sales data and user survey results. The shop data top 5 shows columns holding strong at number 1, with new releases like Toaplan's fantastic platformer Snow Bros. And Sega's GL.OC making an immediate impact at second and third, pushing down other hits like Final Lap and the excellent Final Fight. The user data top 20 gives a wider perspective from players themselves. The legendary Super Shinobi takes the top spot, praised for its intense action and memorable sound. The classic RPG Phantasy Star 2 remains highly popular at number 2, followed closely by the arcade beat-em-up Golden Axe. Other long-standing favorites like Afterburner 2, Ghouls, On Ghosts, and games from the Thunder Force series also feature prominently, demonstrating the enduring appeal of the Mega Drive's library. This reader poll gives a great sense of which games truly resonated with the Mega Drive audience over time. This page features the results of user surveys, presenting two distinct top 20 rankings. On the left is the most anticipated new games, showing what players are eagerly awaiting. Popular titles like Super Monaco GP, Strider, Darius 2, and the upcoming SWAT are high on the list, alongside promising releases such as Phantasy Star 2i and Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. The right-hand ranking is for games people want ported, revealing which arcade and console classics players are hoping to see on the Mega Drive. This list is dominated by arcade legends like Final Fight, Gradius, N-Type, and Outrun, as well as popular PC and console RPG series like YS, Final Fantasy, and Dragon Quest, showing a strong demand for diverse genres. Below the rankings, the Software Maker Communications section provides brief updates. Sega highlights the upcoming releases of SWAT and Cyberball. Sunsoft announces the arrival of Batman. Namco gives a nod to characters from their Valkyrie series. Nihon Telenet and NCS, Messiah, touch upon their Mega Drive plans, including the highly anticipated Granada and Hellfire. It's a great snapshot of user demand and upcoming titles. This page features updates on upcoming Sega events and releases. On the left, the ST Band, Sega's sound team, announces their new CD Hyperdrive and an upcoming live performance on August 25th at the Game Music Festival 90 in Tokyo. They highlight their powerful live sound and plans for future releases and shows. Below, an article details a trial event for the Mega Modem, Sega's online system, held in Tokyo in June. Attendees could try out early SegaNet games including Pyramid Magic, Battalion, and Phantasy Star 2 Text Adventure. The article touches on the experience, noting the time limits imposed by phone costs and the challenge of meeting user expectations with this new technology. The right side presents a schedule of upcoming Mega Drive game releases, listing titles, genres, publishers, and prices from summer into winter 1990, as well as some later and undecided titles. This comprehensive list includes many highly anticipated games like SWAT, Cyberball, Batman, Super Monaco GP, Strider, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Hellfire, Granada, Gameground, Monster Lair, Battalion, and Space Harrier 2, showcasing the diverse range of games planned for the system. This page features updates on various products and games. There's news about the third volume of the legendary Armor Samurai Troopers novel, based on the popular anime, detailing the ongoing cosmic battles and including a reader giveaway. Also from Enix is a mention of a book released from their Fantasy World Comic Contest, and new Dragon Quest merchandise, such as t-shirts featuring slimes and the hero, and various themed handkerchiefs. The page also highlights 2 new card games. Senku Kugun, Air Combat, a simulation game adapting WW2 aerial combat, and Monster Maker School, a fantasy-themed card game based on the Monster Maker series. Both card games are described with their gameplay focus, player count, and approximate playtime. This page kicks off a special feature dedicated to the widely discussed topic of UFOs. The striking visual design features a classic, saucer-shaped UFO emitting beams of light over a landscape and against a starry sky background. The large, bold text prominently declares UFO special feature. The accompanying smaller text indicates that this special will delve into various aspects of the subject that have been generating buzz in media, like TV, videos, and books. It specifically mentions popular conspiracy theories such as MJ-12, alleged secret agreements between the U.S. government and aliens, and even localized reports like cattle mutilations. The magazine is presenting this hot topic, saying it's exploding, here on the pages of Beep Mega Drive. This page continues the UFO special feature, diving deep into the subject with a discussion between UFO researcher Nanyama Hiroshi and UFO mania Ikeda Takayuki. The layout features portraits and profiles of both individuals, setting the stage for their conversation. They talk about the current state of UFO interest, noting that it's a hot topic everywhere from music circles to the media. The dialogue touches on the skepticism surrounding UFOs and the difficulty viewers face in judging information presented on TV. A major point of discussion is the alleged MJ-12 documents, with both figures weighing in on their authenticity and the nature of the information they contain, suggesting some of it might be disinformation. The page also includes brief explanations of key historical events. The Kenneth Arnold incident in 1947, which gave birth to the term flying saucer, and the Majestic 12 group, supposedly revealed in a 1984 document as a secret committee investigating UFOs. Ikeda shares that his personal interest in UFOs began in elementary school thanks to TV specials, highlighting the media's influence on public perception. It's clear from the conversation that the world of UFO research is filled with debate and conflicting information, a point emphasized by both men. This page features UFO researchers Nanyama Hiroshi and Ikeda Takayuki discussing key UFO events. They delve into the Roswell incident, examining the alleged 1947 crash, alien bodies, debris recovery, and the government's weather balloon explanation. The conversation touches upon the MJ-12 document and the numerous witnesses to the event. The text also chronicles the history of US government UFO investigations, from Project Sign to Project Blue Book, and explores alleged secret projects like Sigma, Aquarius, and Snowbird. The discussion includes the common depiction of greys, small beings with large heads, dark eyes, and skin that absorbs nutrients. A photograph of a jellyfish-like object in the sky, taken in Denmark in 1974, is included. Nanyama and Ikeda offer their views on the authenticity of documents, government cover-ups, and the nature of alien encounters. This page continues the deep dive into UFOs, with researchers Nanyama Hiroshi and Ikeda Takayuki. The discussion moves into alleged alien abduction cases, specifically, the chilling idea of humans being taken for samples. The page also covers the mysterious phenomenon of cattle mutilation, describing the precise, bloodless removal of animal parts, a topic often linked to alien activity or covert government experiments. The conversation touches upon the widespread appearance of crop circles as well, exploring the patterns found in fields and the ongoing debate about whether they are man-made hoaxes, natural occurrences, or evidence of extraterrestrial visitation. Crucially for us gamers, the page looks at how aliens have been depicted in movies, television, and video games over the years. It traces the evolution from early menacing invaders seen in titles like Flash Gordon and concepts influenced by Space Invaders, to the more varied portrayals, including friendly aliens like E.Pert, reflecting a shift in popular culture's perception of extraterrestrials. The discussion notes how depictions have changed from purely hostile beings like King Ghidorah or Goa to include both benevolent and malevolent types, showcasing the diverse ways aliens have entered our entertainment landscape. This page delves into the world of recent, buzzworthy UFO videos and related publications, Continuing our exploration of extraterrestrial phenomena, it highlights the Junichi Yaoi UFO series, starting with Volume 1, focusing on the alleged secret group MJ-12. This video investigates the Majestic 12, said to be a dozen men under President Truman, who studied UFOs, digging into the 1947 Roswell incident, alleged alien bodies, and classified government projects like Red Light and Sigma. The feature then introduces Volume 2 of the series, titled Men Who Control Earth, The Conspiracy of MJ-12. This video explores claims connecting former CIA Director George Bush Sr. to MJ-12 secret meetings, discussing the potential societal disruption from acknowledging UFO existence and the military's interest in alien technology. It presents a picture of controlled information and ongoing mysteries. Finally, the page offers a UFO-related book guide, recommending several titles for enthusiasts looking to dive deeper, covering photographic evidence, alleged contactee experiences, messages from aliens, and further details on the MJ-12 theories, keeping the intrigue alive for those fascinated by the unknown. This page continues the UFO feature, turning its focus to the history of alien invasions within the world of computer games, particularly highlighting titles on the Sega Mega Drive. It explores significant games that depicted extraterrestrial threats throughout gaming history. The main section dives into the Mega Drive's alien invasion history, featuring games like Space Harrier 2, known for its battles against alien forces in diverse environments, Alex Sky Castle, which portrays an alien takeover of a fantasy realm, Truxton, a challenging vertical shooter against relentless aliens, Thunder Force 2-1, where players face the formidable Orn Empire, and Curse, another intense shooter centered around fighting alien invaders. The feature also includes a fun ranking of the top 3 ultimate anti-alien weapons from games such as Truxton, Thunder Force 2, and Whiplash, alongside the top 3 most vicious aliens, acknowledging Space Invaders as the iconic beginning of the genre, the Orn Empire from Thunder Force 2 Eyes, and the adversaries from Curse. It generally notes that alien invaders have been a cornerstone of gaming since the groundbreaking Space Invaders in 1978, appearing frequently in classic shooting games like Galaxian, Galaga, and the Gradius series, with Mega Drive shooters being a prime example of this trend. A smaller section also touches briefly on appearances of aliens in the entertainment industry, referencing past events involving the idol group Pink Lady. This page continues the deep dive into alien encounters, specifically focusing on how extraterrestrial invaders have shaped the world of video games, particularly on the Mega Drive. Featured prominently are key titles like Space Invaders 90, a fresh take on the arcade classic that started it all, alongside the intense vertical shooter Hellfire and the action-packed Burning Force, all showcasing vibrant screenshots and highlighting their roles in depicting alien threats. The page also touches upon other notable games that feature alien adversaries, including Zoom, where you confront the evil Buzzler army, Darwin 4081 and its battle against Eyeball, Whiplash and its menacing space monsters, and Thunder Force 2 Is, known for its epic conflict with the formidable Orn Empire. These entries demonstrate the diverse ways alien invasions have been portrayed across different genres and systems. The chronological list illustrates the long history of alien invaders in gaming, from the genre-defining Space Invaders in 1978 right through the years, culminating in the Mega Drive titles. This emphasizes how central this theme has been to the evolution of video games. Finally, the feature concludes with a reflection on the real-world fascination with UFOs, noting how the discussion often blends verifiable information with fictional elements, mirroring the exciting blend of reality and fantasy found in these alien invasion games. This page kicks off a complete master guide focusing on hot new releases, starting with the challenging horizontal shooter Hellfire from Toaplan and NCS. Known as a notoriously difficult arcade game, the Mega Drive port is noted as being slightly easier but still tests your skills. A key mechanic highlighted is the ability to instantly switch your ship's firing direction between forward, backward, upward, and diagonally downward, essential for handling the tough enemies that require multiple hits to destroy. The page also details the impressive 5-stage power-up system, showcasing the progression from the basic shot to the powerful missile, twin laser, super twin laser, and ultimately the devastating triple laser. Screenshots illustrate these various weapon types and demonstrate the directional firing in action. While enemies are formidable, mastering the power-ups and directional shooting is key to conquering Hellfire. This page continues the complete master guide for Hellfire, showcasing the formidable space battle machine itself in intricate detail. It highlights the game's core mechanics beyond just powering up. You'll find details on the Hellfire ship's design and weapons like the powerful super laser. More importantly, The page delves into the 7 crucial items you'll encounter during gameplay. These range from essential power-ups and speed-ups to beneficial bonuses, rare 1 UPS, helpful options that provide support fire, a shield for protection, and the devastating hypercannon. Knowing what each item does is key to survival. The section on choosing your firing direction is prominently featured, reinforcing the critical nature of this mechanic. It clearly shows the 4 directions: forward, backward, up, down, and diagonal, demonstrating how switching between them is absolutely necessary to handle the varied enemies and challenges Hellfire throws at you. Mastering this rapid directional switching is perhaps the single most important skill needed to conquer this tough shooter. This page continues the Hellfire guide, detailing the ship and items while emphasizing the vital 4-way directional shooting mechanic with visual examples. This page dives into the strategic elements of Hellfire, focusing on mastering enemy placements and patterns, essential for a shooting game like this. The guide highlights Stage 1, describing it as an introductory stage ideal for getting accustomed to the controls and gameplay, but one where mastering enemy layouts is key to building confidence for later, tougher stages. It features several screenshots demonstrating challenging points within Stage 1. You'll learn how to tackle a tricky turret that can only be hit by diagonal shots after maneuvering through a gap, deal with a stationary turret launching vertical missiles from behind cover, and defeat the mid-boss, Largas. Largas is a formidable opponent, with turrets and a core that requires focused fire, reminding players to be cautious of its movement when it gets close. The page also includes a useful 1-point memo on the shield item. This is particularly interesting as the shield is noted as an original item exclusive to the Sega Mega Drive version, not found in the arcade. It grants a temporary shield around your ship that nullifies one hit, making it a valuable asset, especially recommended for use during challenging boss fights or difficult enemy swarms. Mastering the strategic use of items like this, in addition to your directional firing, is crucial for success. This page delves further into the tactical nuances of Hellfire, moving beyond the basics covered previously to explore more advanced enemy types and a major boss encounter. The guide provides strategies for overcoming challenging turret placements, including those requiring rear attacks after passing them, or hitting targets hidden behind cover that require precise positioning. It also points out guarded entrances, where destroying powered-up turrets can yield valuable items. The focus then shifts to the formidable boss, Bergduel. This multi-part enemy requires a strategic approach. Players are advised to first eliminate the surrounding turrets before concentrating fire on the boss's core. The core itself moves along a rail, adding another layer of challenge as its firing direction changes based on its position. Using powerful weapons like the hypercannon is recommended to quickly dismantle this threat. Finally, a 1-point memo highlights the option item, confirming it as another unique feature found only in the Sega Mega Drive version of Hellfire, similar to the shield item discussed previously. Unlike player-controlled weapons, the option is a computer-controlled support ship that fires independently and somewhat randomly, providing additional firepower and enhancing the game's atmosphere. While uncontrollable, it serves as a useful companion in the intense battles ahead. This page delves into Stage 2 of Hellfire, presenting an Egyptian-themed world filled with pyramids. The guide notes that from this stage onwards, enemies become significantly tougher. The focus shifts from easily destroyed foes to resilient ones that form the core of the attacks. Mastering power-ups is highlighted as crucial for clearing this stage. The page spotlights specific challenges within the stage. One section features Khud's Great Pyramid, a structure or enemy with low offensive power but tricky turret weak points that are best targeted with diagonal shots. Another difficult moment is described humorously as being surrounded on all sides, where multiple small, agile enemies converge simultaneously. There's also mention of a pot-bellied ogre, a strong enemy that fires in 3 directions and moves erratically, adding a touch of humor to the description. A 1-point memo focuses on the hypercannon, confirming it as a powerful item unique to the Sega Mega Drive version. This weapon is incredibly useful as it can destroy most non-boss enemies in a single hit and simultaneously clear enemy bullets from the screen upon firing. You can hold up to 9, and the standard tactic for skilled players is to use one immediately if they pick it up while already at maximum stock. Stage 2 of Hellfire features new enemies and a boss. Only Head Tutankhamun foes fire diagonal shots and are easily dispatched. Neferu, slow-moving vertical enemies, are best handled with the hypercannon. Coffin areas pose a challenge due to confined spaces and the enemies within. The Stage 2 boss, terrifying sandwich Big Boss Female, is a large golden sarcophagus. It splits vertically, moves slowly, and reveals a red core as its weak point. The hypercannon is recommended for rapid-fire attacks when the core is exposed. The guide ends by teasing the next stage, hinting at battles against the mechanized Empire Gilda and demon generals in a secret jungle area. This page dives into Mystic Defender, known in Japan as Shitenmyu, described as Sigma's unique take on the action genre. It highlights the game's strategic depth, emphasizing that it's not just a standard action title, but one that requires thought. A key feature is the ability to control 4 distinct characters: Kotaru, Ayame, Kidenbu, and Genshiru, each with their own abilities, and the necessity of switching between them strategically during rounds. Power-ups allow characters to grow, adding another layer of decision-making. The game features 9 rounds, with the first 6 being playable in any order, offering player freedom. The article also mentions features like a 2-player mode, a challenging hard mode, and customizable controls, all contributing to a satisfying and replayable experience. The story involves humans created by gods, demons led by Ashura dominating the human world, and the 4 heroes battling Ashura's army across different eras. This page continues the guide for Mystic Defender, focusing on strategy. It provides winning secrets, starting with grasping the characteristics of each round. 3 specific stages are detailed. Rock, described as a flat, rocky area with dangerous sinking ground. Street, a cityscape with pitfalls, manholes, and challenging enemies like flying creatures. And Meadow, set atop ancient castle walls with narrow paths, falling debris, and tricky traps like lightning. The guide highlights the common enemies and boss strategies for each stage, noting which require particular caution or power-ups. The second section of the page is crucial, focusing on mastering the special techniques of the 4 main characters: Kotaru, Ayame, Kidenbu, and Genshiru. It outlines their primary weapons and special abilities, emphasizing when each character is most effective. For example, Kotaru's Fire Dragon is noted as powerful but limited. Ayame's missile attack is useful for hitting enemies at a distance. Kidenbu is described as an all-around character with powerful special attacks, and Genshiru is best known for his boomerang-like projectiles. The guide stresses understanding each character's strengths for effective stage and boss strategy, particularly the importance of power-ups for Kidenbu. This page continues the guide for Mystic Defender, offering crucial winning strategies and details on valuable items. It focuses on navigating challenging environments and utilizing power-ups effectively. 3 distinct stages are detailed. Harbor, a port area with dangerous floor openings requiring careful movement. Forest, a tricky woodland with platforms and tree branches that can cause you to fall if not careful, and featuring bouncing enemies. And Future, a high-tech base filled with environmental hazards like laser beams and drill enemies. Each stage description highlights specific dangers and recommended tactics, including notes on boss encounters, such as the harbor boss requiring jump attacks, or the future boss's energy barrier. The guide then presents 5 items to grasp your destiny. These are essential power-ups depicted by small icons. Speed up increases movement speed. Jump up boosts jumping ability, noting its importance. Attack up enhances offensive power, described as most important for defeating bosses. Life 1 up grants an extra life, and Life Max up restores HP to full, being a rare but crucial recovery item. The text emphasizes that boosting your abilities with these items is key to success. This page continues the strategic guide for Mystic Defender, taking us into the final, challenging stages and introducing the formidable enemies you'll face. It begins by describing the brutal Hell stage, which arrives after clearing the initial rounds. This level is noted for its complex map and treacherous valleys you can fall into, alongside powerful enemies. The guide warns of a boss in this area that attacks by simultaneously shooting 2 projectiles. Following Hell is the Sky World, a visually striking stage resembling Buddhist paradise but populated by cunning demons and dangerous black hermits who appear without warning. The guide emphasizes careful, slow progression here. The ultimate challenge is the final boss, Zareth, referred to as Shitenmyu, who attacks using powerful double actions and is incredibly tough. While his guard is strong, using your strongest attack, the vacuum attack, is highlighted as effective. The guide reassures that even if you reach the final battle alone, it's possible to succeed, as the very last round is a one-on-one duel. The page also profiles several unique minor enemies, describing their attack patterns and dangers. These include the stationary poison flower, the chasing wind snake, the dropping tarantula, the numerous demon beast, the spreading rotating fire, the drill-shooting birdle, the floating stone face demon, the sudden dropping demon, the high HP death god, and the incredibly strong attacking black hermit who throws projectiles and jumps. Mastering the patterns of these diverse foes is crucial for survival. The next page delves into the world of SWAT, Cyber Police, offering a thorough introduction to the game. It highlights the game's premise, where rampant crime in the future leads to the formation of the SWAT organization, equipped with powerful special armor like the new ice suit. The guide covers the game up to the third stage, showcasing the impressive new ice armor. A section details the 5 types of weapons available, explaining that the standard shot is effective against enemies, and picking up weapon items grants access to 4 additional, more powerful types. Screenshots illustrate these weapons in action, including the rocket launcher, plasma cannon, super shot, and fire. The page also touches upon the game's narrative, mentioning the relentless enemy organization known as I, which specifically targets SWAT. Finally, it briefly explains the 2 types of recovery items used for restoring health and the burner gauge. This page continues the guide for SWAT, Cyber Police, covering the next 2 challenging areas players will face. First up is Stage 1, the City Street. This nighttime stage takes place across multiple buildings, where the enemy organization I has gathered key operatives. Players must navigate rooftop jumps and face foes like cyborgs, with sliding tackles, red robots, and elite enemies that make aiming difficult. The guide notes that most basic enemies are unpredictable. The boss of this stage is a small helicopter that becomes vulnerable when it hovers, encouraging focused fire. Following that is Stage 2, the prison. Here, I has incited a riot by transforming inmates into cyborgs and taking control. Players, now promoted, are tasked with infiltrating the facility. The guide suggests finding an entrance and using lifts, recommending players stay in the center of the lift and shoot forward against laser traps. It also gives a tip for navigating the second floor by simply jumping down from the lift. The boss is a mechanical soldier that attacks with double strikes. Staying low and concentrating fire is recommended. This page continues the guide for SWAT, Cyber Police, focusing on Stage 3, the nuclear power plant. The enemy organization, I, has seized control of the plant to secure energy for developing new weapons. You must infiltrate the facility alone. The guide points out where to find useful weapons, like the plasma gun, rocket launcher, super shot, and fire power-up within the stage. The boss is identified as a difficult attack robot that specifically requires skilled use of the burner weapon to defeat. A significant portion of the page is dedicated to mastering the burner. It explains the controls for air hover, jumping and holding the jump button, and subsequent air movement using the directional pad. The burner has limited fuel, indicated by a meter, and won't work when empty. Fuel can be found as items or regenerates slowly. This weapon is crucial for attacking and navigating, offering increased mobility, but requires practice to avoid errors. The guide stresses the importance of becoming proficient with the burner and managing its fuel, especially for the boss fight, as it's essential for progressing through this stage effectively. This page continues the guide for SWAT, Cyber Police's third stage at the nuclear power plant. It details the enemy types encountered, including reinforced human and robot soldiers, some equipped with shotguns or standard weapons. It highlights their tough durability. A new enemy, a small mobile suit, is introduced, emerging from tanks likely containing cooling water. Despite its size, this mobile suit is agile and powerful, especially with its heavy rocket launcher, requiring quick defeat before it attacks. The guide then focuses on the stage boss, a large attack robot. It breaks down the boss's attack pattern, a standard shot, followed by a face shot, where its face detaches and flies forward, and finally, an upward attack. The weak point is the cockpit exposed after the face detaches. The text provides tactical advice, suggesting the player use jumps, air hovers, and the burner weapon to dodge attacks and strike the weak point when available. It stresses the importance of carefully observing the boss's movements to succeed. Stage 4 of SWAT, Cyber Police, the Biolab, is a perilous environment filled with manufactured biomonsters. Players face unique enemies, including test tube monsters, with unpredictable behaviors and attacks. Hazards include bio-purple rain and chasing biomass waves, demanding strategic movement to avoid damage. The stage features unique traversal elements, like ceiling platforms and liquid monster pools. Progress is initially difficult due to the unavailability of the burner weapon. The stage culminates in a boss battle against the mad scientist, piloting a mech with flexible arms and a detachable head that shoots invincible biomonsters. Utilizing the burner and targeting specific weak points is key to defeating the boss. This page continues the walkthrough for SWAT, Cyber Police, focusing on the challenges of later stages. It covers Stage 5, the underground base, detailing the industrial environment filled with machinery, high-voltage areas, and automated defenses. Players will encounter various enemies, including fixed turrets and cranes, leading up to a fight with a large, auto-gyro-like boss that employs diverse attack patterns, requiring strategic thinking. Next is Stage 6, notable for its difficult footing and the crucial use of the burner weapon. Mastering mid-air movement, specifically the slow descent technique, is essential here. While the burner consumes fuel quickly, recovery items are frequent from small lifts, so managing this resource is key. The boss for this stage is a giant auto-gyro emerging from the ground, initially passive, but becoming aggressive. It uses powerful energy attacks with the burner, along with missiles and beams. The weak point is high up, demanding players utilize hovering tactics. Finally, the page previews Stage 7, the sewer. After the base, the battle moves underground into a foul-smelling, obstacle-ridden environment. Players face fixed turrets and numerous soldiers. The stage offers two paths, both leading forward. The reviewer notes the unpleasant atmosphere and the challenging encounters awaiting players in this area. This page continues the in-depth guide for Sunsoft's Batman on the Sega Genesis. It features a character asking if they are truly an ally of justice, referencing a flyer and an illustrated vampire Batwoman who appears to be the head of an Ally of Justice training institute within the magazine's commentary. The page provides a recap of the game's story, confirming it is directly based on the live-action Batman movie, detailing Batman's origin in Gotham City and his motivation. It then delves into a walkthrough of the early stages. Stage 1, Gotham City Street, is described as straightforward, with weak enemies leading to a boss named Boxer, who relies on a strong punch and requires players to dodge and counterattack from behind, as shown in a screenshot. Stage 2, the Axis Chemical Factory, is a factory environment where the story progresses with Jack, the future Joker, and his transformation, a key plot point from the movie. A screenshot shows the factory setting. The guide highlights the factory as the location where Jack falls into the chemicals, leading to his rebirth as the Joker. This page continues the detailed guide for Sunsoft's Batman game on the Sega Genesis, focusing on Stage 3, the Flugelheim Museum. The story progresses with Batman needing to rescue Vicky Vale, who has been kidnapped by the Joker, adding a layer to the implied love triangle mentioned earlier. This stage features two primary bosses, Sword and Alex. Other enemies include those who throw dynamite or knives. The level design incorporates environmental hazards, like falling chandeliers and moving floors, requiring careful timing for navigation. Alex is highlighted as a large enemy who throws grenades, possessing high health and attack power, best dealt with using the batarang. There's also a reference to the Stage 1 boss, Boxer, labeled here as, with a description and image that match him. The guide offers specific advice for navigating the museum. Vertical Jump explains how to time jumps on tricky rising and falling platforms while avoiding hazards. Three-Step Jump details a specific platforming challenge, advising players how to move across blocks and quickly escape after landing on the second block to avoid a falling chandelier. Upon defeating the stage boss, the guide notes the escape sequence with Vicky, stating this scene is directly inspired by the movie and looks really cool. The page includes multiple screenshots showcasing the museum's interior, platforming challenges, and vertical shafts. This page jumps back to Area 1 of Batman's Gotham City Street, shifting from the previous page's Stage 3 museum guide. The gameplay here changes dramatically, becoming a shooting stage where Batman controls a vehicle, blasting enemies ahead. The page details various enemies encountered in this area, including different types of armored vehicles like the Tank, Shia Kuban, Tank Ses, Tank M, and Tank L, alongside the Joker car and Joker van. The guide mentions that while the machine gun is continuous fire, missiles have limited use, but are effective for guaranteed hits on targeted enemies, making them useful for strategic takedowns. Advice is given on utilizing weapons and finding safe spots. Advice number 3 discusses the missile's limited ammo compared to the machine gun, recommending them for specific targets. Advice number 4 touches on a potentially counterintuitive strategy. Enemies often attack behind, so getting in front might seem safe, but this is quickly dismissed as dangerous. The page features character art, including a figure resembling the Joker interacting with a small creature, adding a lighthearted or dramatic touch to the guide's tone, perhaps representing player reactions or dialogue. This page returns to the action platforming of Area 2 in Batman's Gotham City. It describes navigating the environment and facing enemies who jump frequently. Advice is given on timing jumps and avoiding traps, particularly warning against being overly focused on collecting items which can lead to falling. The page introduces specific enemies found in Area 2, including a Pierrot, or clown-like enemy that uses kicks and punches, and a dual sword user who attacks with swinging blades, recommending dodging its attacks by jumping and striking from behind. Looking ahead, the guide discusses the progression after Area 4, which is revealed to be an aerial shooting stage aboard the Batwing over Gotham City. Following this, the final stage is set in the Grand Cathedral, where Batman must pursue the Joker. This final area features a challenging rush of bosses encountered earlier in the game, before the ultimate confrontation with the Joker himself. The page also includes a separate, possibly humorous commentary section titled, "No Tomorrow for the Red and White Panda," with dialogue and character art depicting figures that appear to be from the Batman universe. This page shifts focus to cover notable video games, specifically highlighting Sega's action beat 'em up, Alien Storm. The article introduces the game's premise, where aliens disguised as everyday objects invade the city, and players take on the role of the Alien Busters, a group including Gordon, Carla, and Scooter, who normally have mundane jobs but transform to fight the alien threat. Alien Storm is described as being in the style of Golden Axe, featuring 6 stages of alien combat. A key feature emphasized is the game's varied gameplay, incorporating not just standard beat-em-up sections, but also 3D shooting segments and high-speed auto-scrolling scenes within a single mission, offering a dynamic experience. The page details that each of the 3 playable characters possesses unique weapons and special attacks, encouraging players to choose based on their preferred style. Also mentioned in the list at the top are other trending titles, including Konami's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game and several Neo Geo titles like Riding Hero, Ninja Commando, and Cyberlip, though details on these are not provided here. Overall, the page presents Alien Storm as a summer-appropriate, action-packed title with diverse gameplay and distinct characters. This page continues the coverage of Alien Storm, detailing the special attacks available to the heroes Gordon, Carla, and Scooter. These powerful moves inflict significant damage, but consume energy, requiring careful timing. The article highlights Gordon's jetpack Vulcan cannon and Scooter's ICBM strike as examples. The guide then breaks down the early missions. Mission 1 consists of 3 stages, introducing players to the action including a 3D shooting segment inside a store. Mission 2 spans 5 stages, increasing enemy variety with camouflaged aliens and introducing the first high-speed auto-scrolling sequence. Mission 3 is the longest at 7 stages, featuring giant monsters and strange alien plants, culminating in a challenging transforming boss that grows larger and requires strategic use of special attacks to defeat. A final small section previews Mission 4, showing giant UFOs. This page dives into the action-packed arcade game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, based on the popular movie. It's an action game filled with animation effects. The page introduces the 4 heroes, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael, showcasing their signature weapons. Leonardo with his katana, Michelangelo with his nunchucks, Donatello with his bow staff, and Raphael with his sei. It gives a brief overview of their fighting styles, highlighting Raphael as the most aggressive. The article then takes us through all 10 stages of the game. It describes the diverse environments, starting from rescuing April O'Neil in a burning building and facing foot soldiers, moving through the sewers, downtown streets, highways, and eventually reaching the Technodrome. You'll encounter various enemies and iconic bosses along the way, including Rocksteady and Shredder. The screenshots provide a glimpse of the intense action across several levels. It mentions that a second player can join the game at any time for co-op play, and that eating pizza restores your life, a key mechanic for survival. The reviewer notes the stages are varied and exciting, keeping the gameplay fresh. This page follows up on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game covered previously by showcasing many of the diverse enemy characters you'll face. It highlights various types of foot soldiers wielding different weapons, alongside iconic bosses like Mouser robots, the two-wheeled robot, Rocksteady, Bebop, Krang, and of course Shredder himself, noting their strong attacks and challenging presence. The page then shifts focus to Neo Geo information, introducing 3 new software titles slated for summer rental releases. These are Riding Hero, a motorcycle racing game featuring multiple modes including endurance and world touring, Ninja Combat, an action game where you play as a ninja descendant recruiting allies to fight an evil clan, and Cyberlip, a run-and-gun action title where you clear stages and defeat a supercomputer. It mentions these titles are coming to the increasing number of Neo Geo rental shops across Japan. Including the page is a large list of these rental shops, indicating that due to high interest in the Neo Geo, they are providing information on where players can rent or purchase the system and its games nationwide. This page features the BeepMD race review section, leading off with a look at SWAT, City Under Siege. The game is an action title set in the near future, where players take on the role of the armored police officer, SWAT, fighting the criminal organization I. 4 reviewers offer their thoughts and scores out of 10. One reviewer gave it a 7, noting it reminded them of Altered Beast, and that while difficult, using the burner weapon is fun. Another reviewer gave it a 5, comparing it to the arcade version, and finding the difficulty setting odd, but acceptable, since there are no continues. A third reviewer scored it a 6, liking the opening screen but feeling the power-ups weren't very effective, leading to stress. The final commentary section, also scoring it a 6, described it as the Revenge of Shinobi type action game, finding the outcome a bit weird, but noting it as an important July release for the Mega Drive. The page also touches on the state of the game market, observing that even popular titles are selling for significantly less than their original price shortly after release, a trend also affecting Mega Drive games, and that they are working to provide the interesting games users want. This page features reviews for 3 more Mega Drive titles. First up is Cyberball, a robot football action game. Reviewers found it offered detailed strategic elements and character progression, but opinions were mixed on its execution and difficulty, with scores ranging from 5 to 7. Next, we look at Philios, a vertical shooter set in Greek mythology. This game was highly praised by the reviewers, receiving scores of 8 and 9 across the board. They highlighted the impressive shooting action and presentation, noting it was a strong entry in the genre. Finally, the page reviews Batman, the action game based on the movie. This title mixes car chase, shooting, and action sequences. Reviewers generally found the atmosphere and visuals impressive, though some noted difficulty or similarities to other action games like SWAT. Scores were mostly positive, between 6 and 8. There's also a recurring column titled Uncle Jam's Long-Legged Uncle Corner, which appears to contain personal commentary, including anticipation for a Mega Jam festival. Overall, the page covers a varied selection of recent releases, with Philios standing out as a particularly well-received game. This page introduces the highly anticipated Sega Game Gear, known affectionately as GG, set to launch in late September with significant third-party support. Touted as a hip item, its key features include a vibrant natural color LCD screen capable of displaying television broadcasts via an optional tuner pack. Although the included screenshot showcases a block-dropping puzzle game, the article specifically highlights Columns as a strongly recommended title. The piece touches on the hardware's portability and the excitement surrounding its release. User impressions note the unit felt slightly larger than anticipated, but had good handling and a clear color display, although some after-imaging was observed with fast motion. The page also includes a survey featuring responses from various third-party developers, such as Kaneko, Sunsoft, SystemSoft, Wolf Team, Genki, Sigma Shoji, and Taito. They discussed their plans for the system, detailing planned game genres like action, simulation, and puzzle titles, target demographics, and their views on the Game Gear hardware compared to competitors like the Game Boy and Lynx. Notably, Sigma Shoji provided a humorous no comment, accompanied by a frog mascot illustration. This page continues the exploration of the Sega Game Gear, following up on the initial launch impressions. The main article discusses updates to Monaco GP and provides more general thoughts on the hardware, highlighting the addition of flash and versus modes, and customization options like changing block types and graphics, mentioning gems, blocks, dice, numbers, hearts, and diamonds as examples. Screenshots show the customization in action, featuring different block styles. The article notes some after-imaging with fast motion due to the LCD, but acknowledges the screen's clarity. It also touches on the TV Tuner Pack capability. The sidebar lists the expected Game Gear software lineup, featuring titles like Columns, Super Monaco GP, Pengo, Wonder Boy, Glock, Maze Syndrome, and others across genres like puzzle, racing, action, and RPG. Smaller sections feature previews and developer perspectives from various companies. Treasure discusses their plans, NCS comments on their approach to the system, and other developers share insights on their planned titles and thoughts on the Game Gear hardware compared to competitors. Finally, a reader survey reveals the most anticipated Game Gear titles, with Tetris coming out on top, followed by Blockade, Outrun, Afterburner, and Alex Kidd. The results also list games already released or announced that received many votes, such as Columns and Glock. This feedback provides a clear picture of what players were excited about on the new portable system. This page showcases the Mega Drive Trick League Volume 4, featuring user-submitted tips and tricks for popular games. The main focus is on Thunder Force 2i, providing details on manipulating power-up items, allowing players to freely increase or decrease them, and revealing the locations of hidden power-ups, specifically the powerful saber and claw weapons, complete with illustrative screenshots showing where to find them. Another game featured is Telephone Mahjong, for which 2 hidden passwords are provided. One allows players to start at level 5 with a boosted average score, while the other offers a start at level 10, though with a significantly negative average score. The page also outlines how readers can submit their own tricks to the league contest via postcard, and details the rules and prizes for the competition, including different ranks and cash prizes, encouraging players to become part of the Mega Drive trick community. This page presents Volume 4 of the Mega Drive Expert Course column. The primary focus is on Phantasy Star IV, Generations of Doom, specifically addressing a common player query about finding the entrance to the rocket launch site. The column explains that this is a problem often faced by players who initially marry Lena in the game, and provides visual hints with 3 screenshots guiding players on how to locate this hidden entrance by interacting with the environment. The column also includes a section titled Sorry, offering apologies and clarifications regarding information provided in previous volumes, specifically Volume 1 and Volume 2, of the column, acknowledging potential inaccuracies or confusing tips given earlier. Finally, the page encourages readers to send in their questions and tips via postcard for the column, providing the mailing address. A small illustration of a character with glasses is featured at the top right. A magazine celebrated its first anniversary with a massive giveaway for 222 winners. Prizes included the Sega Mega Drive console and classic games like Super Monaco GP, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, SWAT, Cyberball, Phelios, Hellfire, Mystic Defender, Phantasy Star II, Monster World, and Fantasy Zone. Beyond games, the giveaway offered merchandise such as video guides, music creds, promotional items, card games, novels, and rare magazines like Sega Visions. Apparel from games, along with unique desk tools, were also included. Readers entered by completing and mailing a survey postcard by August 8th, with winners announced in the October issue. This event provided a wide array of gaming hardware and memorabilia for fans. This page continues the celebration theme from the previous page, showcasing more prizes available in the anniversary giveaway. Up top you see items like themed mugs, disc holders featuring SWATs, and posters for games like Wrestle War and World Grand Prix. Other prizes include phone cards with artwork from Salamander, Parodius, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, alongside stickers for Double Dragon and V-Ball. The main text reflects on the past year, touching on challenges like game room delivery delays and the difficulty of reviewing complex RPGs like Phantasy Star II. The editors discuss their commitment to fair reviews and incorporating reader feedback, acknowledging the magazine is now officially 1 year old. They announced the September issue will be released on August 8th. Below, there's contact information for reader questions and a notice seeking new writers and editors for the magazine. Finally, there are detailed instructions on how to fill out the survey postcard for the giveaway, asking readers about their demographics, Mega Drive ownership, favorite games, and opinions on the magazine content. The staff list shows the names of the people involved in producing the magazine. This page promotes the Game Music Festival 90, presented by CompTQ and Cytron, featuring a live battle between the Sega and Taito house bands, ST Band, and Zuntata. The event is scheduled for August 25th at the Nihon Seininkan. The page also highlights new music releases. One is the Hyperdrive GSM Sega 4ST album, released on July 21st, featuring arrangements of music from various Sega titles including SDI, Golden Axe, Sword of Vermilion, Phantasy Star II, Super Hangin', Glock, Bonanza Bros, Line of Fire, and Alien Storm. Artwork from some of these games is shown. Another featured release is the Beastbusters SNK album, also released on July 21st as part of the GSM 1500 series, focusing on music from SNK games like Beastbusters. Contact information for Citron and other related details are also included. This page showcases the upcoming Sega Mega Drive title, Devil Hunter Yoko, The Seventh Bell. The artwork prominently features Yoko in her Demon Hunter attire, wielding a sword, and surrounded by various grotesque monsters including a giant wasp-like creature. There's also a smaller image depicting Yoko in her typical school uniform. The text describes the game as a dramatic action game, planned for an autumn release, promising to push the boundaries of the Mega Drive. It highlights the use of 3D scrolling for an immersive experience across 5 stages. The game boasts large sprites and challenging enemy variety and attack patterns, pushing the limits of the 4 megabit room size. It positions itself as a groundbreaking action game for the system, starting with Yoko's adventure. The price is listed as undecided for this 4 meters room cartridge. This page proudly presents Thunder Force 2i by Technosoft, positioned as a highly refined sequel following the acclaimed Thunder Force 2 on the Mega Drive. The text highlights the game's focus on horizontal scrolling stages, departing from the mix seen in its predecessor, alongside enhanced graphics featuring larger sprites and improved weapon systems. It also boasts superior audio, incorporating clear voice samples and stereo sound to enhance the experience. 2 screenshots showcase the intense gameplay, featuring a large, imposing enemy and a dynamic level design with various hazards. The page announces the game's release and lists the price at 6,800 yen, tax excluded. Also featured is information about Technosoft's presence at the Soft World 90 event, inviting attendees and offering prizes. A photo shows 2 individuals, Kanako and Kaoru, identified as part of Technosoft's Gals Club, with a note confirming that Kaoru provides voice work for the game. This page presents stunning artwork for the highly anticipated Thunder Force 2i, continuing the coverage from the previous page. The vibrant illustration features the player's spacecraft engaged in a fierce battle against the iconic Phoenix boss, engulfed in fiery energy amidst a cosmic backdrop with 2 striking red planets. The dynamic scene perfectly captures the intense action promised by the game. Large vertical text on the right proclaims, "Incredible intensity! The birth of a super shooting game!" Emphasizing the game's thrilling nature and its arrival on the Mega Drive, as indicated by the logo at the bottom. This page serves as a powerful visual announcement, building excitement for the enhanced horizontal shooting experience detailed earlier. This page features previews for 2 exciting Sega Genesis titles hitting the console. The main focus is artwork showcasing the imposing armored protagonist from SWAT, Cyber Police. The game puts you in the boots of a specialist unit officer, donning the advanced ice armor to combat the criminal organization I. It details the game's premise and lists its release date and price. Also previewed is Cyberball, which offers a unique take on American football played by robots, emphasizing strategic gameplay and formations needed to score touchdowns. Its release date and price are also noted, offering fans 2 very different experiences coming to the console.